She checks out Soo-hyuk, and it makes Hajin think that it's Yoon-ha and Soo-hyuk is such a strange combination. Originally, he should have been Suho's agent. Yoon-ha finds about the fact that Suho made contract with him and decided to invest a ton of money into SH Entertainment. The result of that was a great success, and that helped both Yoon-ha and Park Soo-hyuk walk down the road of success, at least in the novel. But the problem is whether Yoon-ha will invest in SH that does not have Kim Suho. In the worst case, Hajin might end up blocking the bright future of Park Soo-hyuk. Yoon-ha suddenly replies, "I see," and also gets in the car with Hajin, saying that if he is here to hunt, she will accompany him, and asks Hajin if it's okay with him, but he is in quite the shock. Fast forward, as the car enters the field, we see them both sitting silently in the car. Hajin wonders what is Yoon-ha thinking, and suddenly she calls out to him and asks if he has any plans for the future, to which he replies, "On what is she suddenly talking about?" She says that she is asking about what he intends to do after the graduation ceremony, and Hajin replies, "Why would he think of that when it's still so far away?" But Yoon-ha tells him that the midterms are already over and they won't be in Cube for their third year because of their apprenticeships, which makes Hajin think that they will be really busy in their third year as clean-up heroes or something. And if he does not have any specific plans, she asks him to join the essence of the straight with her. She continues that although they are still constantly in the second place because of holy grace of God, if she becomes a captain, then she is going to make the essence of straight the best in the country. And she promises him to support him with tons of high-ranking weapons and named artifacts. And asks if this isn't quite an attractive offer for a cadet like him. Hajin replies that it's illegal to recruit cadets before they graduate. It would be a 5 billion fine for her, to which she says that it's nothing for her. And right as she is telling him to think carefully, Soo-hyuk stops the car, making her face smash into the car seat. She angrily asks him on what was that for, and he replies that they have arrived at the monster point. Yoon-ha asks him on how can a normal agent know about a monster point, and he replies that April is when the monsters inside the field start to get pretty rough. There are many smaller monsters that get driven to this vicinity. There is a few more locations like this, but the other areas have too many people because they are too famous. This is also a hunting spot that he took Hajin sniping into consideration for. And he has already explored this area personally and got the information himself, so it can be trusted. Hearing it all surprises Yoon-ha, and Hajin comments on how capable his agent is. Hajin leaves while telling Soo-hyuk that he will be back after some hunting, and Soo-hyuk asks Yoon-ha on what is she going to do, to which she replies that her guild members will be here soon. He gets scared by her, and suddenly she taps on his window and asks Soo-hyuk to give her his name card. Fast forward to 10 days after the midterms incident. The classes that were suspended resumed, and the cadets return to Cube, and we see the students are checking their ranks. And naturally, Hajin took the first place in the midterms. After punishing Kim Ho-ak during the practical test, the group that was bullying him became quiet as well. And this is probably the most peaceful time he ever had since he joined Cube. Suddenly, someone punches the wall right beside him. And it's Naeun, who is super pissed and asks Hajin if wasn't he the one who wrote this report. Students around wonders what is happening, and upon seeing them both, assumes that they are fighting again. Naeun tells him to not think that he will be weaseling out of this. The annoying tone in this report obviously belongs to him. Hajin asks on what's wrong with it. He wrote it so he could help her, but she nags at him that she wasn't asking for his help, and he said that she did not have any talent as an archer. Who the hell gave him the right to teach her anything at all? And so what if you're a little good at studies? And she proposes a bet and tells him to experience on how hard it is using a bow with your whole body. Hajin immediately agrees with the bet, which surprises her. But if she loses, she would have to quit using a bow. She gets fired up and obviously very angry. Hajin tells her that he will also use a bow instead of a well, in return, she has to give him some special training time, to which she replies, does he really think it will help him? He can do as he pleases. Hajin thinks that his current master sharpshooter is at grade 7, if he get it to grade 6 with the remaining time, then he should be able to win the bet easily. Naeun is running away from the reality, to the extent that she thinks that just because she is talented at using swords, she is also talented at using bows. Just saying nice things won't help, because she needs to become someone stronger. Now at Grace Hall, number 303, we see the travel club president introducing himself. As he is giving a long speech, Hajin thinks that the academics and hunting club's activities had been halted due to the demonic human incident. The things that happened within Cube roughly flowed in the same direction as they did in the novel, in which the last incident would be, and the travel club president announces that their next travel destination would be France. The next episode is the assassination of the Parisian multi-millionaire. This episode starts with an assassin organization sending an assassination warning. The recipient would be France's multi-millionaire, Bethel. Due to his peaceful personality, he lives a frugal lifestyle in his mansion on the outskirts of Paris. Which is all a lie. Bethel was a wicked fraud known as Burbit. He had swindled numerous people and accumulated his wealth from all sorts of wicked deeds. While he has been able to escape getting caught so far, the Darkness's footprint that was found was the real thing. Since he is a wanted man, he could not ask the police for help, and he doesn't have enough time to hire people who'd be strong enough to protect him from them. Bethel felt shivers down his spine. However, even if the skies fall, there will always be a way out. One day, Bethel thought of an amazing solution when he saw a certain Cube cadet visiting Paris to sightsee. We see it's the travel club president, who is talking with someone, and saying that he was thinking to choose their club's next travel destination as Paris, but it's hard to find accommodation for all the cadets to stay together. And we see Bethel coming forward with a proposal to live in his mansion with all the cadets, which was his plan. He probably planned to use the cadets as his bodyguards by gathering them at his mansion. Suddenly, he gets a request on his laptop on the Room of Truth. He is surprised as this is his first request, and it's to find a swindler who got away after swindling his family, and he would like the details of the person below. Seeing which, Hajin remembers the person. Now at an abandoned warehouse. We see the members of the chameleon troupe has gathered. One of them says that it scared him, and wonders if that is the power of anti-magic. Someone else replies that the standards of the Cube's first years this time around is pretty high, he should be pretty useful too, and one of them says that she is alright with anything. One of the girls raises her hand, asking the captain that since when did their group started doing analyses just to bring in a newbie. And someone else says that he thinks he got potential, more importantly he likes that he does not have any parents or lovers. The girl asks on what is that has to do with anything. And he answers that if he does not have anyone by his side, it'd be easier for him to indulge in physical things. They might not be able to provide him with things like honor, but they could give him as much money as he wants. And on top of that, their priority is to catch and punish the traitor. If he has the talent to help them, then they must recruit him. The girl replies, if that's so, then they should recruit him. However, they only have one empty spot, which is black. Would they want to give it to a newbie, the position that the chameleon troupe recognizes as the strongest, the color of that man who betrayed the former captain? Jung Yun steps forward, saying that since they have no choice, he will take up the position of black, and give him his color instead. But the members object, as Jung Yun is too stupid, which pisses him off. Drun replies, then the answer would be a majority vote by the captain. She asks, those who agree to recruit Kim Ha-jin into the chameleon troupe, show her hands. And we see majority of them agrees. Drun counts 8 agreements and 2 objections, meaning Ha-jin's recruitment has been confirmed, and it annoys Jung Yun. The captain tells Jane to look at something. It's the invitation to the Paris VIP party, and she realizes that it's the mission location this time around. She tells the captain to leave it to her. Chameleon Troupe's yellow, as stealing a single ring is nothing for her. We switch scenes to Suho and Naeun, who seem sleepy and tired. The president Hanhyun confirms everyone's attendance and tells everyone to draw lots and move to the portal. Hajin thinks that he has not even went to Europe in reality, yet he is going there 10 seconds from now via the portal. According to the novel, Yoon Ha and Kim Suho were supposed to team up. And the rest will be just pair up accordingly perhaps. We finally see Paris and Eiffel Tower as the travel club arrives. And we see Naeun and Hajin has paired up, about which she is pissed while wondering on what the hell is up with her luck, and Hajin asks on why is she complaining when she was the one who drew the lot. They start arguing again, and people around are commenting how cool they are upon seeing that they are Cube cadets. Suddenly someone calls everyone over. And we see the President Hanhyun getting all lovey-dovey with a girl as they both ask each other on how each of them has been, and everyone watching starts to get pissed thinking that he came here so he could meet his girlfriend. Hanhyun introduces his girlfriend, who is also their doctor for this trip, and her name is Natasha. Hajin stares at her as she greets everyone and tells everyone to have a good time. They tell everyone to gather back here by 7 p.m. as there is a party in the evening. As Hajin is leaving, Naeun asks him on where is he going. He replies that he wants to eat something, and asks Naeun if she is going to tag along. She replies that he is forgetting that they are a team. She cannot simply ignore the fact now, can she? To which Hajin replies that he was simply thinking that she acts very differently from someone he knows. Hajin then tells her to follow him for now, and she asks if he knows where to go, and he replies that he has it in his watch, as he did some research before coming here. Hence, she should just follow him. Though while walking, Naeun tells him that she is very picky with her food, and he replies that he knows, to which she asks, how would he know? We see them both arrive in some fancy restaurant, and Naeun is quite surprised. She asks Hajin on how did he made a reservation in a place like this, and he replies that he has his ways. In reality he used his book of truth. He hands her the menu and tells her to order whatever she likes, which she agrees to. Hajin thinks that since she comes from a rich family, she would know what to order. Suddenly, as he is looking out from the window, he notices someone. He immediately gets up wondering what was that, and Naeun is confused. He quickly runs outside while telling Naeun to wait, as she asks him on where is he going. Hajin wonders if the story changed, or did another unknown actor appear. We see a couple walking and Hajin calls them out. It turns out to be Sung-ah, as Hajin wonders on what is she doing in Paris. Looking at Hajin, she gets nervous, and Hajin tells her that she walks real fast, calling her Miss Sung-ah, and asks her on what is she doing here. But she tries to act like she doesn't know him and asks Hajin on who is he. Hajin asks on why is she acting like she doesn't know him, but she doesn't reply, and we see the guy with her comes forward. Hajin notes the system alert above them and tells them to excuse him, as he has mistaken them for someone else. He opens up his laptop while standing outside and reads the story change alert. Jane and Sung-ah, now he knows the reason for why she is in Paris. Both of them were in Holy Grace of God. As people in the same batch, Jane and Sung-ah would participate in several missions, and also experience various incidents. For Yoon Sung-ah, who led a tough life, Jane was the only person that she could call a friend. But at the most critical moment, Jane decided to betray Sung-ah. We see a place surrounded by fire, and Sung-ah on the ground asking Jane on why did she betray her. We see some substance is dropping from her face. As she replies to Sung-ah, that it was because she felt like it'd be fun. Jane's true identity was the Chameleon Troop's Yellow, Jane Valorine. She was a villain who was talented at stealing things and making disguises. Back to the present, we see Sung-ah in some thoughts, as the guy with her gives her coffee. He tells her that she looks troubled, and she asks, is that so? But actually she feels refreshed, since she can finally put an end to this ill-fated relationship. He asks if Jane will really appear like what the anonymous informant said, and she replies that she does not trust that information completely. But that woman loves such parties, it'd be even better if there are things she can steal. The relic that is stored in the ballroom's safe, Homer's ring. Tonight, Jane Valorine will appear to try and steal that. We see Naeun and Hajin coming out of the restaurant after finishing up, with Naeun being satisfied by how good that meal was. Hajin asks her if they can split up now, as she might have places she wants to visit as well. And he thinks that the ball starts at 5 p.m, if he wants to find a place that has a good view of the building's insides, he would need to explore in advance. Naeun leaves while telling him to do whatever he wants, but suddenly he calls out to her and tells her to not get lost, which she gets pissed about and asks if he thinks that she is an idiot. Now at night, at the ball, we see many rich people along with a luxurious setting. People there starts to take notice of someone, and it's Yo Yoon-ha and Kim Soo-ho. They wonder if they are a celebrity, and they look so cool even though they have mask on. Hearing that, Yoon-ha comments that they say attire makes all the difference, and the effort she spent dressing Soo-ho was worth it, while Soo-ho thinks that the shirt is so stuffy. And we see someone is observing the ball from outside, on top of a building. It's Hajin who thinks, 5 minutes and 30 seconds, Yoon Sung-ah is here too, and there are no major deviations yet. In an old castle by the outskirts of Paris, a masked ball was taking place. The thing he needs to do in this place is simply to help the story progress without any hiccups. Suddenly, he notices a mana portal, which makes him realize that something is going wrong again. The only people who can make portals like that artificially would be the demonic humans, and he is talking about a strong one who is favored by a demon and possess enough mana to open a portal. The demonic human that opened that portal is already hiding somewhere in the party. Suddenly his laptop shows him a judgment point. It shows that there are too few people involved in Homer's ring, hence the demonic group. Evil Society makes use of it and gets involved in this chapter, changing the story. Evil Society, an evil demonic human group whose leader is presumed to be Kim Hakpyo. Relic plunder, terrorist attacks, and wars that occur in countries from all over the world. There are an uncountable number of chaotic incidents in the world caused by Evil Society's demonic humans. Hajin notes that this has attracted the attention of some dangerous people. Hajin starts to use ether on his face and transforms it into a mask, while saying that this time around, things won't go according to their plan. As such, he now starts to search for Jane in the party. At the party, we see someone choking out one of the personnel. He then goes onto the iris scanner and is able to unlock it by showing his eyes as well. As the gate opens, he calls it too easy. In the middle of that room, he finds the mythical grade relic, the Homer's ring. Right as he is about to take it, Sung-ah comes and asks on what is he doing over there, and it turns out to be the person who was with her, Yoren. He asks Sung-ah on what is she doing here, and she replies that she came here to find him. How can her secretary just leave his position out of nowhere? She gets close to him and suddenly hugs him from behind. It scares and confuses Yoren as he asks on what is she doing so suddenly, and she replies that she won't be tricked a second time. And such she lifts him up and tries to slam him on the ground, causing a commotion in the party. People starts to wonder on what was that explosion, as we see part of the place is completely destroyed. From the smoke, we see it's not Yoren, but Jane, and Sung-ah is chasing her, and Jane is surprised and asks Sung-ah on how could she notice her disguise as it should have been perfect with her talent. Sung-ah catches up with her, and replies that she knows that Jane switched places with Yoren when they reached Paris. Did she really thought that she would not notice how her closest aide speaks and walks? Jane smirks and replies that she does not remember Sung-ah being such a meticulous person in the past, perhaps being betrayed by her really hurt her a lot. Suddenly a whip strikes Sung-ah and binds her hand. It's Yoon-ha and Kim Soo-ho as Yoon-ha tells her that she does not know who she is, but they have to take their lovers' fight back home. Sung-ah asks them on who are they, and Yoon-ha replies that they are cadets from Cube, and if she puts down her weapon right now, there will be no bloodshed. But Sung-ah uses her power and burns away Yoon-ha's whip. Suddenly as she is distracted, Jane attacks her, but she is able to dodge. Their attack starts reaching towards Yoon-ha as well, and Sung-ha is barely able to block them. But she uses her fist to attack Jane's sword, and it breaks, surprising her. Right as Sung-ah is about to finish her off, Soo-ho blocks her attack. She asks on who the hell is he, and tells him to get lost before she cuts him as well, but he tells her he won't, and though he doesn't know why they are fighting, he won't let anyone just get drawn into their fight. It'd be best for them to stop right now. Sung-ah gets pissed and kicks Soo-ho right in the gut. As she looks back, she finds Jane gone, and we can see her escaping, while Sung-ah tells her to stop, but she starts to make fun of her. Suddenly a black miasma arises, and both Jane and Sung-ah are shocked, as they wonder what is that. We see a demonic human, with tentacles-like ability, holding the Homer's ring. From outside, Hajin takes notice of her. Switching to Naeun, she is frustrated upon getting lost. She is certain that she followed the map though, and wonders why is she back at the same place, and calls her watch useless. She questions on which lousy company made this. She will make an inquiry right away. Though it's her own dad's company. She notices that he has not answered his calls or has he read his messages, and she wonders just what the hell is going on. Sung-ah is surprised to see a demonic human, and she warns her to put the ring down immediately. She replies that it's not an item that the likes of them should have, hence, they, the Evil Society, will be taking it. Hajin observes the situation from the outside, and thinks now that the Evil Society has the ring, there is a really low probability that they can get it back even if they work together. With no choice left, he decides to go the plan B and starts using his ether. He calculates the amount and thinks that this much would be enough and throws his ether at the demonic human. With this, he has stolen the ring away right from her hand. She is shocked and wonders who the hell did that, and from behind her we see Sung-ah attacking. With the Homer's ring in his hand, Hajin thinks to leave away with it for now. Suddenly he notices something, and gets attacked by someone, which he dodges. The attack leaves a crater, and we see someone coming, telling Hajin that he cannot do that, and asks just where is he rushing off to with it. Hajin is nervous upon noting that there is a second demonic human here. The guy greets Hajin and introduces himself as Sidious, and asks if it would be easy to understand for Hajin if he told him that he is a part of the Evil Society. He praises Hajin for his technique that he used to steal the ring, as Silason could not even do anything about it, to which Hajin replies that it was not anything great. But since he is so full of tricks, he should realize what he is about to say to him, and hence tells Hajin to hand over the ring. But Hajin replies that he cannot do that, which annoys Sidious, and replies that there is always someone like that, a person who gives them trouble in their perfect plan. He pulls out his weapon, citing that he has no choice but to use force against him. He attacks Hajin and we see a huge wave of red energy is released from his sword. It leaves a big impact as well, but Hajin is able to dodge it. Sidious asks Hajin if he got scared and explains that it's a magic sword that costs at least several hundred millions. As long as the user has enough mana to infuse into it, it could be even more powerful than a low-ranking relic. It'd be best for Hajin to hand over the ring before he becomes a mess. Hajin thinks that one of the benefits that demonic humans get via their contract would be an exponential increase of mana. That sword is probably best possible sword for that demonic human. Hence, Hajin starts to think to do something about his sword. Sidious attacks him again, but Hajin again dodges. Hajin proposes him to talk instead, as he will give him the ring if they talk, and Sidious replies, why would he do that instead of simply killing him and taking it? But Hajin asks, wasn't he trying to negotiate earlier, and Sidious replies that he is so noisy with his mumbling, even if he tries to buy time, he would not be able to find a way to defeat him. As he can tell just from a glance, that he is way weaker than those guys who are fighting inside. And his only weapon is and his physical abilities are also only good enough to dodge his attack, and such he asks Hajin on how can he be confident enough to stand before a demonic human. Sidious gets tired and charges up his sword, while saying goodbye to Hajin. But suddenly, his sword just stops working. He wonders what is happening and Hajin tells him that his sword probably won't work for today, which confuses him. And Hajin continues that it's because he is a lucky person. Sidious calls it bluffing and there are times when equipments malfunction, however he can still kill him easily without a weapon, as he believes. Hajin asks if that's really the case. Hajin decides to use the rest of his stigma and change it into light mana. Sidious attacks him, but Hajin changes his weapon to shotgun mode and shoots at him at point-blank range. Now switching to Naeun, who has given up on finding the party location after getting lost. She notices a lot of police cars and wonders where they are going, and sees her smart watch and notices that no one from the party has contacted her either. Looking at which, she gets disappointed and wonders why is that. She thinks that she has gotten influenced in a strange way. Suddenly she notices Hajin sitting beside her, and is surprised and asks him on why is he here. But Hajin replies that he is a little tired and she gets confused and asks on what did he say again. Hajin suddenly falls on the bench, and Naeun freaks out and asks him if he is sick. She tries to call him out, but he has fallen unconscious. Suddenly we switch scenes, and Hajin starts to wonder where is he. But he remembers, it was that time he finished his sats. Suddenly someone calls out his name. And we see it's his parents, and he asks them on why did they come all the way here, as it's so cold today as well. Hajin starts crying, as he has messed up his exams. His parents hugs him and consoles him, telling him that it's okay. Hajin starts to wake up from his dream, with tears in his eyes and laying on a bed, as he wonders where is he. Naeun and Suho enters the room, with Naeun asking if he is already awake, and Hajin is surprised to see them as well. Naeun complains on how hard it was for her to carry him back here, and tells him to get a grip. Seeing Hajin's face, she notices and asks if he cried, to which he tries to deny. Suho tells Naeun to step outside for now, and she asks on what did she just do. Natasha asks Hajin if he feels better now, which he replies that he does. She tells him that he had symptoms of exhaustion, and tells him to not move around too much and have a good rest, which he agrees to but asks them on where are they. Natasha replies that it's a mansion, and this is the room that he and Kim Suho have been assigned to. Hajin realizes that this is the huge mansion they were supposed to be living in. She asks if he is alright without eating anything, and he replies that he would be alright. Hajin notes that the assassination incident is about to start soon, and it's a good thing that he woke up before the incident started. Natasha tells him to rest up, and asks Naeun to leave the room with her, which she is reluctant to do so, and asks on why do they all keep asking her to leave the room. Suho cuts some apple for Hajin and asks if he is really okay, and he replies that he is fine. Hajin uses his smartwatch to see the news about the demonic incident and notes that fortunately no one got severely injured or killed in the process, seeing as how they did not mention anything else. Jane must have gotten out safely. He asks Suho about this incident and he replies, though he cannot give him any details, the demonic humans ran away before the heroes were dispatched, and Hajin gets relieved. Hajin notes Suho's hands are covered in bandages. Seeing which, he tells her to take care of himself, and calls him the protagonist, hence he should not suffer any severe injuries. He ran fearlessly towards Sung-ah today. At that time, Sung-ah really intended to kill him, and if that demonic human had appeared a little later, he might have gotten severely injured. He does understand why he did that, it's because he is the protagonist that walks only on the path of good. But a protagonist that tries to do good and righteous deeds, would he be able to overcome this crisis that's being controlled by an unknown being? And would he be able to send him back to his original world? Suho replies that he is no protagonist, such things don't exist. And if he is a protagonist, then Hajin is one as well. No, more like everyone in this world is a protagonist. Hearing which, Hajin seems to have a change of view. Suddenly, he tells Hajin that he saw the report that he wrote for Naeun, and tells him that he was kind of harsh, and Hajin replies that he was not, she does not have natural talent for archery. Suho asks if this is why he made a bet with her to compete with bows, and Hajin replies, yeah, and he wants her to give up if he wins. Suho argues that it's the path that she chose, and he does not think that it's anyone's place to ask her to give it up. Hajin asks if he wants him to cheer her on and comfort her even though she is obviously meant to walk down another path. Not everything can be resolved just by saying nice words like you do. What if one tries their best to the very end, but all that awaits is despair? What would he do then? Would he take the responsibility for it? Suho asks on how is he so sure that she does not have talent for bows, and if he is saying it like that because he can take responsibility for it. Hajin replies that he have thought a lot about this way more than he have, and he have observed her way longer than anyone else as well. And he knows way more about her than he does as well. Hearing which confuses Suho, and we hear a loud sound from outside, and Suho wonders what was that. Hajin with this eyes notices, one of the skills that an archer has is stealth, and calls it quite unnecessary skill that Naeun has learned. We see Naeun enter her room, shared with Yoon-ha who is trying to sleep. She starts blushing heavily, and calls Hajin totally crazy and wonders what the hell is he talking about. Yoon-ha wakes up and asks her if something happened, and she replies that it's nothing. Yoon-ha tells her to go to sleep if nothing happened, as she is really tired right now, and Naeun does so while telling her good night. But as she is in her bed, she still thinks about it and tries to calm herself down, thinking that she just eavesdropped on their conversation. She should just ignore that and act normal. She once again remembers his words and starts blushing. Right as she is wondering on what was Hajin thinking, we hear a loud scream and she gets up immediately, thinking what was that? Yoon-ha gets angry at Naeun, thinking that she was the one who screamed, but she tells her that it was not her. Yoon-ha asks then who was it, and thinks that perhaps it was really someone screaming. In the mansion, we see the maid is scared and freaking out upon seeing her master covered in blood. Hearing that scream, everyone opens up their door, wondering what was that. They notice that it came from the floor below, and Suho immediately jumps down. Hajin and everyone is surprised, as he wonders if he is a monster or what. Suho rushes over to the location and opens the door in hurry, and seeing the horrific sight shocks him. The maid starts crying and asks Suho for help, saying that the Lord has been murdered. Everyone gathers and wonders on how could such a thing happen, as Natasha checks up on him. She tells that unfortunately he is already dead, due to there being excessive bleeding from the pierced wound on his abdomen. The butler says that this was surely done by the people who were jealous of him, and how could someone do something so evil to him when he lived his life for the sake of others? Everyone is quiet and seems to be mourning his death. Natasha tells everyone to wait outside and let the police and ambulance come. All the cadets should return to their rooms. But suddenly, Hajin turns the lights on. Natasha gets surprised and asks Hajin on why did he turn the lights on. He goes to Bethel's body and Natasha tells him to not tamper with the crime scene. She tries to make him go away forcefully, but Hajin pulls out his gun and points it right on her face. Everyone is shocked seeing it, and Naeun asks if he is gone crazy. He tells Natasha that she is lying right now, and Bethel is not dead. Villain Burbot is not dead. After he deceives people with his fake death to escape the crisis he is in, he becomes the greatest schemer as he joins the demonic humans. Because his villain role is improvised, Hajin does not know what will happen in the future. It is best for him to take him down now if it's possible. Everyone is looking incredibly shocked by Hajin's revelation. Hajin notes that it's hard to convince others. With this involvement of his, he does not know what kind of uncertainty will occur and ruin the story flow. And he remembers Kim Soo-ho's words about being the protagonist and smiles while thinking that even without thinking a lot, some stupid guy will be able to overcome that uncertainty. He once again says that Bethel is not dead, and he is deceiving everyone by playing dead. Natasha replies on what is he talking about, as she is a doctor and she checked that he is dead. Hajin explains that firstly that wound, it's too shallow for someone who got struck from the top. Next would be the excessive bleeding. The only fatal hit he took was to his heart, yet his blood not only soaked this huge mattress, it also overflowed to the ground. And the most important thing would be, and he does something in his smartwatch which leaves everyone shocked. He shows his real identity, while saying, "Con artist Burbit that's on the global wanted list, he looks awfully similar to Bethel, isn't it?" Natasha is left speechless and she asks Butler if he has called for police and ambulance, which he has. She tells Hajin that in this case, they can just ask them instead of arguing among themselves, since the opinion of professionals would be more trustworthy than a mere cadet. As such she tries to leave while saying to conclude this matter when the police arrives. But Hajin points his weapon towards Bethel, which scares Natasha. She gets flustered and asks him on what is he doing. Everyone else also asks him the same thing. Hajin tells Natasha that he will shoot after counting to 3, it doesn't matter since he's dead, right? He starts his counting and Natasha panics, asking someone to stop him, while saying that Bethel is already a corpse, there is no need to do that. The count goes to 2, and Natasha says that they have already called for police, what could he want more, and asks him to put that weapon down right now. Right as he counts to 3, Natasha starts to cry out of fear, and quickly rushes off to him and covers him, telling Hajin to not shoot, revealing that he is her father, and everyone is left shocked. The butler tries to leave quietly, but Hajin shoots beside him and stops him, and tells him to not get the police but the heroes instead, and tell them that they caught a wanted criminal. Fast forward, and it gets morning, and we see the police are taking away Natasha and Burbit's unconscious body. The assassination incident was a self-fabricated scenario set up by Burbit and Natasha. Burbit, who was wanted all over Europe for his crimes, planned this so that he could get away from the police dragnet that was closing in on him. The fact that the fool that his daughter, Natasha, happened to bring was a cube cadet had contributed positively to his plans. The plan was known as the coming back after suspended animation. While the ingredient to put someone into suspended animation is very expensive, Natasha, who was a doctor in Cube, was able to obtain it easily. The next step was simple. After creating a fake wound on Burbit, who was put into suspended animation with the help of an illegal mage, she just had to spill the blood all over the scene. The ambulance workers that had arrived wouldn't be able to tell whether he was faking death, and all the police members around Paris had already been bribed by Burbit, and so, a similar-looking corpse had been provided to switch places with him when he's being transported. After that, the cube cadet that was made a fool of would then give his testimony, and the words of a cube cadet are 100% trustworthy. With that, Burbit would officially become dead on paper, but in actual fact, he would be reborn under a new name. However, it's no longer the case. As we see, the first question he got on his website was about Burbit as well, about which Hajin notes will increase his credibility as well. Yoon-ha arrives from behind and asks him if he is Sherlock. As there was that incident with Yoon-hyun and now today's incident, she suggests that he could open up a detective agency at this rate, to which Hajin replies that a sharpshooter needs to have observant eyes. Though she questions him on how does he knows the faces of the criminals, and Hajin replies that it's a family matter, and his tone puts Yoon-ha in confusion as she asks him on why is he speaking formally so suddenly. From family matter, Hajin starts to think about something, wondering what was Kim Chun-dong's family history. Now we switch scenes to someone looking over a huge aquarium. We see the demonic human, Silason, is kneeling in front of him and reporting that an unknown person who wore a leopard mask got in their way. He was exceptional at stealing things. And even Sidier's lost to him. He asks if he was not like a demonic human, and she replies that he was not like a hero either. He orders her to look into the heroes and hunters, and if she finds him, she has to report to him first without taking any action, to which she obliges. But then he asks her on why is she going around and advertising that she is a demonic human. Confused, Silason says, "Pardon?" He replies that it's that face of hers. And asking, why is she basically advertising that she is a demonic human while being very angry? She apologizes and changes her face, while saying that she will make sure to find him in the shortest time possible. He also asks her if she retrieved the magic sword, the weapon that Sidai's used, and she gets nervous in telling him about that. Meanwhile, we see Hajin holding that sword, wondering how is he supposed to use this. It's a weapon that is useless to him since he is unable to control magic that is not stigma normally, though he thinks that it would sell for quite a high price, but something does not feels right. And the next item he got, the Homer's ring, originally a certain amount of magic power needs to be infused into it to modify it, but there is no need for Hajin to go through that trouble, as he can just use some SP to change a few words. And such the ring transforms and its status changes as well. A relic that increases magic power and also increases intelligence permanently, and it's not a bound item, so he can transfer it to someone else as well. Compared to someone like him, who does not have enough magic power, Kim Suho or Chai Naeun would be able to put it to better use. It would be especially more effective for Naeun, who has more magic power. Now he goes on to check his stats, and other than speed and perception, the rest have not increased by a lot, but fortunately there was an increase in gift. And with this, he is starting to feel like he has hit a wall, and thinks that he probably needs to work even harder than he has done so far in order to break his limits. Though, he still should be able to beat Naeun at this level, and right as he is closing his laptop, he remembers that he was supposed to find out about Kim Chun-dong. He enters Violet Society, thinking that there is no way that the co-author would leave Kim Chun-dong's past totally blank. He joined Cube, even though he might have been an extra in his novel, he should still have been an elite in the real world. That means there is a high chance that his parents are not ordinary people. Though searching for information on him might be a tough task. Troubleshooter, Yo Jin-hyuk, he is someone who is known to be the best at finding all sorts of information on people, but he is also very expensive. But since he is very good at finding people, he decides to hire him, only to hit a realization. The fact that he has no money as he has been investing, which he completely forgot about, and suddenly he looks over and notices the evangel seed starting to twitch, and he realizes that it's already its feeding time. Now at some huge building, we see Yoon-ha looking something on her smartwatch. And we see she is calling her uncle, Yo Jin-hyuk. Fast forward, we are suddenly in Norway, which Hajin questions as well, and calls it a long story. And suddenly he gets hit by a snowball right on his face, and says that the story might be short as well. We see it was Naeun who threw it on him on purpose, which pisses him off. The club activities that got paused after the Sven incident resumed again. The hunting club borrowed a mountain cabin on a hill and organized an event for the resumption of club activities. The club president calls everyone over to explain the event. She explains that the seniors have hidden flags with numbers like this in various parts of the forest. There are presents linked to each number of the flag. There are virtual reality devices, vouchers, and a lot of other amazing presents, so they should do their best in finding them. She tells them to draw lots and make up their teams. And as Naeun draws her lot, she is once again teamed up with Hajin, whom she asks if he has rigged the lots. She is annoyed and starts walking, telling Hajin to not hold her back, and Hajin with a deadpan expression tells her to just take care of herself, as there are boar traps below, which she already gets caught by, and Hajin starts laughing at her. Looking at Hajin's clothes, Naeun asks if he is fine with such a thin layer of clothing, as he will freeze to death in it, and Hajin replies that it's a functional coat. And an amazing one at that. It's something that Rachel gave him as a present when he had to worry about money and could not buy it. She told him that it was thanks for midterms and whatnot. Hajin starts to get teary thinking about how kind Rachel is. Suddenly, Naeun points towards the flag which she found, and Hajin notes that it's the flag number 1. Though he wonders why it's all the way over there, as what kind of idiot will climb up there? And right as he says, Naeun has already started climbing, and also calls Hajin to come quickly. Hajin sighs, and pulls out a knife attached with a wire. She asks him on what is he doing, and if he really thinks that it would work with a knife which is tied to a wire. Hajin prepares to throw it, while replying that of course it won't work with just any wire, while thinking that this wire has some of his stigma's mana. He throws it in the general direction, as it does not matter where it flies, since he controls the mana that's within the knife. We see the knife hitting the perfect spot, which surprises Naeun that it actually worked. Hajin goes on to pick the flag up, and Naeun excitedly asks on what is the reward, and Hajin tells her that there is some kind of note here. It turns out to be Yoon Sung-a's number, seeing which Naeun gets elated and Hajin is not so much. Hajin hands it over to Naeun, who is surprised and tells him that this is the number of number 1 guild's vice captain, and Hajin replies that he does not need it, thinking since he already has it. Upon taking it, she starts to blush and gives it back, saying why would he give it to her if he is the one who got it, and Hajin simply tells her to forget it if she does not need it as well, and they both head back to the cabin. Now switching scenes, we see someone in deep thoughts. It's Yoon-ha, who remembers Hajin's answer when she asked him on how he knew the criminals' faces. She thinks that the wanted criminal Burbit was someone who mainly committed crimes within Europe. It's a character that should not have any contact with Kim Hajin. It would make sense if that person memorized the faces of all global wanted criminals. But wonders on why would he do that, and there is only one hypothesis, which makes sense. No one knows who the main culprit that did something terrible to Kim Hajin in the past is. Because of that, he memorized the global wanted criminal list in order to find the culprit. If she considers that Kim Hajin is an orphan, then the hypothesis makes even more sense, and perhaps his parents did not just die, but were murdered. And due to that, he memorized the faces of criminals and hid his power so that he can find the culprit and kill him without the culprit knowing that he is there. Though this is still just a hypothesis, it's not what Kim Hajin's past really is, and if he really did had such a past and she was able to find it out, it would become a good opportunity for her. An opportunity to put herself in a greatly advantageous position when she is trying to recruit him into her guild later on. She starts to think and sighs in the end, thinking she does not want to contact that person. We see a building and a phone ringing. Someone comes up and shouts on why aren't they picking up the phone, and complains about the secretary being of no use. The person picks up the phone himself and introduces himself, objects, people, information. He will find whatever they want, as this is Yo Jin-hyuk's office. As Yoon-ha greets her uncle, he is surprised knowing it her, as she rarely ever calls him. She tells him that she wants to hire him to investigate someone. His name is Kim Hajin, a 17-year-old cube cadet, and she wants to know everything about his past and where he has been before. Since with his ability to experience the past, he can find out everything. Back to Hajin, everyone is surprised seeing him take the first place, commenting that they are so envious of him, but Hajin thinks that the present for number 4 is better than number 1 for him. Fast forward and it gets evening and they all start eating. Hajin tells them that he will cook the meat and the rest of the items, so they can go and rest. The guy besides him starts to think that Hajin is completely different from the rumors. For Hajin, since his aunt runs a Korean barbecue restaurant, he is more confident in barbecuing meat than others. While eating, the president brings up the topic of end-of-the-term exams for them. She tells them to be extra careful, as they must not trust anyone during the end-of-term exam, and one of them asks if it's that tough. She replies that it's not just tough, she has seen friendships being broken up as well. Since it is directly connected to the results, everyone is very sensitive. And they must have heard of the repeat class as well. They are really dangerous, so they should be wary of them. Repeat class, as per the name, it's a class for cadets whose grades did not make it and could not advance to the next level. There's around 200 cadets in each grade. Among them, around 20% of them have either contracted with a demon or belong to high-risk groups, and the problem of this end-of-term exam stems from them. Now that the co-author has gotten involved, it's possible for the percentage to increase. That's proof of just how rotten the current cube is. The president calls out to Hajin for doing a great job and tells him to take a break and eat with them, though he replies that he has been eating while cooking, so it's good for him. Hajin thinks that they are being really friendly to him, just because he is cooking the meat well. The president tells everyone since they all had great dinner, it's best to rest in the mountain cabin instead of going out for a night hunt. At night, we see them all playing and having fun. Hajin, sitting outside, thinks that it's been a while since he had such a great laugh. Suddenly he gets another request on his website to find a con artist, seeing which he notes that the name is quite German-like and it must be a referral from the previous customer. He uses his book of truth and gets all of the information about the con artist. He gets quite dizzy from it and thinks that it's great he is earning money from this, but he doesn't really like how he feels after using this ability. He closes his laptop and starts to admire the view. Suddenly, he starts to do a smoking action, but remembers that he quit smoking already. He also remembers smoking at least half a box every single day for 5 years. He totally forgot about it since he fell into this world. Suddenly, Naeun approaches him from behind and asks if he used to smoke, and seeing her, he asks since when she was here, to which she replies she has been standing here for a while. Upon learning that he used to smoke before, she calls him a real thug and asks that he must have tattoos as well, though he does not answer, and she assumes that it's true, but he clarifies that it's not. She starts to stare at him for a moment and asks if he is confident in winning against her. To which Hajin replies with a question of his own: is she confident in giving up on Bo if she loses? She replies that losing does not even sound possible, so she did not think about what would happen afterwards. He asks if she is going to cry if she loses, which she almost did today, and she gets pissed hearing that. She then shows him an article in news that was written about him in France today. Apparently Yoon-ha showed it to her. They said that he was the Korean Sherlock that caught the notorious con artist. Naeun says that she cannot believe they are calling a thug who is always quarreling with her and smokes Sherlock. Hajin gets tired of her banter and tells her to go to sleep. She makes fun of him while going for it. She stops again and asks him what is it like to smoke though. In winter, at some old orphanage, we see Yoon Jin-hyuk waiting for something, almost reaching his limits. As just a little more and his mana will be depleted, but just then he notices someone with a baby in her hand. She puts the baby down in front of the orphanage, and Jin-hyuk notices that she is just a kid herself. Suddenly it all starts to go awry, as he notices that the density of the past is too high. He gets back to the present, and wonders just who the hell is she. We see Jin-hyuk arriving back at his office, and his employee welcoming him back. He asks Jin-hyuk on how was the target this time around, and he replies that it was a little unusual. Though before saying anything further, he rushes off to use the toilet. 17 years old, used to be from orphanage, Jin-hyuk went back to the day target entered the orphanage to take a look, but he could not see the target's parents, instead saw some kid put the baby down and left. He could not find out much, and the past was strangely covered in a thick fog. It seems that if he wants to find out more, he would need to maintain his top condition. In any case, he thinks it would take quite a while. It's too much work to do for free, even if it's a request from his niece. But his employee tells him that he would probably needs to do it even if that's the case, as another request to look into Kim Ha-jin's past just came in, which surprises Jin-hyuk. And what is worse is that, this time around, it's coming from the top rank of Violet Society, a red diamond rank purchaser, which surprises Jin-hyuk as it's the same rank as him. He reads the request and notes on top of being a red diamond rank, the letter is very politely written, and also have an abnormal deposit amount, with which he gets certain that it's a request from the Chameleon's troupe. He gets a bit nervous and excited while saying that Kim Ha-jin, there is really something about him. Now on Friday, the instructor announces that 4 weeks from now would be finals. The practical exam for the finals would be much harder than the midterms. They would be tested on what they learned about being hero in this semester, hence they should make sure to be thoroughly prepared. Hajin thinks that unlike the midterms which had more entertainment, the finals does not have a prepared arena or audience. The finals would be held at a certain remote island in Korea. A survival exam would be conducted on an island that's overflowing with monsters and beasts. But if the co-author gets involved, then there will be a ton of changes that will occur there as well. And there are lots of other variables besides the co-author as well, as such he needs to be on guard. Instructor tells them that he cannot share more details of the exam yet, but in this exam, numerous instructors of middle to high rank will be going all out to ensure the exam location safety. All they need to do is focus on the exam. And with that, he ends the class and wishes them luck for their weekend. As Hajin is packing his bag, someone calls him out. It's Naeun, who asks if he has forgotten about their bow bet yet. Hajin asks her in reply that if she has forgotten that she would have to quit using bow if she loses, and she gets angry, telling him to not cry if he loses. They both arrive at the archery center. As Naeun asks him if he is ready, he replies he is, but there is something. Behind them, everyone is here, about which Hajin asks on why all of them are here. Class president comes along saying, were they really trying to do something fun all alone, and they need an audience for something like this to be fun? Hajin with a deadpan expression, thinks if Lee Young-han is not even embarrassed from what happened previously. Suddenly Shin pulls his hair in anger, saying that he has asked Naeun to quit using bow if she loses, but if he loses instead, would he be quitting cube then? Naeun kicks both of them away, telling them to stay out of this as they are about to start. She starts explaining that their objective will be to hit the target. It would be launched from the target launcher over there, and they will be starting from 100 meter. Every time they succeed, they will add an additional 50 meter and continue shooting. And that is all there is to it. She then mocks him by asking if he is too scared because it looks very hard to do, but he replies it because it's easier than he thought, which pisses her off, as she replies that she will see how long that confidence of him will last. They both take their position and get ready to shoot. Naeun shouts to start shooting, as the launcher shoots the target in air. She shoots first, and it perfectly hits the target. She looks towards Hajin while saying that 100 meter is easy. But Hajin apologizes as he froze up and did not shoot because he was surprised, and asks to give him another chance, leaving everyone dumbfounded. Class president burst out laughing and Shin gets angry at Hajin for pulling such antics. Naeun is also taken back and says that even his posture is a mess, and it wouldn't matter how many times he shoot. Suho tells Younghan to stop laughing at Hajin. As Hajin prepares to shoot, he thinks, although Naeun has perfect posture, stuff like that does not matter to him. One does not become top grade just by learning the posture perfectly, that's just the basic requirement to become one. In this world, the power known as talent is the one that determines who's top grade and who's not. As Hajin yells shoot, and the target launches shoots the target. And Hajin's talent is Master Sharpshooter, which assists his arrow and hits the target perfectly. Seeing which, everyone is left shocked. As Hajin tells Naeun that he got the grasp of it now, and he is going to go again. We go back to the past, where a bunch of kids are trying to see the hero's disciple. Who is Chai Naeun, also called a child genius. Everyone outside wonders on what happened, and her master asks if she is really serious about changing her weapon to a bow. He asks if it's due to her mother, and she replies that there is no reason for it. She just wanted to change it, and says a genius like her would probably become the best archer even if she became an archer instead. He replies that he even gave her a magic sword, and she apologizes to him. But he gets pissed at her, shouting who the hell is her master. He does not have any disciple who just changes their path in life so easily. As he calms down, and says that he won't stop her if that's her decision, and asks if this is really what she wants. And tells her to think carefully, and not do anything she would regret. Back to the present, Naeun once again shoots down her target. And as Hajin's turn comes, he is also easily able to shoot his targets down as well. Seeing this, other students comments that Hajin is way better than expected, and the distance is also already 400 meter. Someone pops up behind them and says that he is not just keeping up, he has been shooting immediately after Naeun hits her targets for a while now. He would get it if it was just 1 or 2 shots, but isn't it natural for someone to feel psychologically intimidated in a match like that when there is constant pressure? But Hajin is looking relaxed despite being in such psychological war. As such, in quite a bit of surprise, he wonders if Hajin would really win it. And Shin gets angry hearing that, as he looks over at Naeun with concern. As she hits her next target, she misses the bullseye. Seeing which, Hajin once again tells her that she is not suited for bows. She asks if he is scared, and what is up with his cheap provocation. He should just shut up and fire the arrows. Hajin knows that Naeun does not have a calm personality. She gets angry and shaken at the slightest provocation. It's natural that she is not suited to be an archer, but the reason why she still chose to become an archer. As he tells Naeun that she is scared, isn't she, to fight using a sword. She gets pissed and tells Hajin to watch his mouth. He continues on that if that's not it, since that is what it looks like to him, it is also why she always tries to rationalize it, doesn't she? Saying stuff like, I am as talented in bows as I am with swords, I can also become the best hero with a bow. Though, considering she changed to bows halfway, she is doing pretty well as an archer. Hearing this all, she gets more agitated and tells him to shut up. And with his next line, he completely shakes her up, that with her level, she would never be able to kill even a single demonic human, not to mention avenge her family. As she shoots this time, her arrow completely misses target. It leaves everyone, including Naeun, shocked. And as such, Naeun loses her duel against Hajin. Now at evening, as Yoonha is walking outside, searching for Naeun, she looks over and finds her sitting on a bench. She asks her on what is she doing here, and everyone is looking for her. Naeun asks Yoonha if she heard about it as well, and that Hajin brought up her family. She starts getting teary, thinking on why does he do that, as he has helped her before, and while she does not consider each other close, she did think that he is not a bad guy she heard in rumors, but still wonders on why does he keep doing stuff like that. Yoonha also wonders on what would Hajin gain from doing stuff like this. Suddenly she realizes something, as if their relationship takes a turn for the worse, it would be problematic for her as she wants to recruit them both, and due to which she plans to do something, though she is a bit annoyed in doing that. She tells Naeun that Hajin has no family, and it's probably for the same reason as her. She also tells Naeun that she kind of guessed it, and perhaps Hajin identifies with her. He wants her to understand him even if he does things like that to her, and he wants her to live a good life. Yoonha finally leaves saying that she knows she might have lots of things to think about, so she would be going first, and tells Naeun to not be too late. Sitting alone, she starts to remember her past, about being asked on why she switched to bow, and she replies that she was just getting bored of swords. As hearing that, her brother pats her on the head and tells her that no matter what path she chooses, he would support it, as he knows that she would do well. However, she has to promise him something. In the future, when she is ready, he wants her to think about what she really wants to do. As such, she starts to think about it. Switching to Hajin, we see his SP has increased by a lot, and extreme luck also activated in human relationship, seeing which Hajin wonders, what is this? Fast forward and we see Jin Hyuk telling Yoon-ha that there is something definitely up with Kim Hajin, and he would be able to know after further investigation, but he might turn out to be related to a terrible illegal organization, while thinking that it would be best if he did not mention Chameleon Troop to Yoon-ha. He confirms with Yoon-ha if it's okay for him to keep looking into Hajin. She smiles and replies, of course, as she has already made up her mind that she is definitely going to bring him over to Essence of the Strait. Hearing which he starts to smile, saying that seems like he would have to put in more effort, and hearing which Yoon-ha asks if he is misunderstanding something here. We switch scenes to Hajin, who arrives at training center, as apparently the rumors about the shooting competition spread quickly since a lot of people were watching, though he did not expect it to be called in by an instructor. Though with how things turned out, he is a bit scared going into the classroom. Suddenly he notices another person who is here, and peeks through the corner. He gets surprised seeing that it's Naeun, who is training with a sword. And as she turns around and sees Hajin, she quickly hides the sword behind her back in embarrassment. Hajin awkwardly calls out about her training, and Naeun, while embarrassed, hesitantly replies that it is what she was doing, and asks if she is not allowed to do that. Hajin replies that it's not that, and suddenly notices her new hairstyle and calls it out. Naeun asks him on what about it. And Hajin asks if she cut it due to him, but she replies that she cut it because it was getting warm, and asks if Hajin really thinks that she would dwell over stuff like that. Hajin smiles and compliments her new hair and asks if it feels refreshing. She blushes slightly and replies, it probably does. Hajin leaves while telling her that he is going to be training over there as well. Naeun thinks that Hajin was a swordsman to begin with when he threw away everything he learned throughout his whole life and chose a different weapon. It makes her wonder about what kind of feelings did Hajin had at that time. She then starts to channel mana into her sword. Seeing that it's reaching all the way to the ceiling now, she gets excited. She starts to remember his words about her keep using bow, and wonders if he knew from the start. Fast forward, back in his dorm, we see Hajin doing some shopping for the upcoming final exams. He notes that they would probably check for their belongings before they enter the exam location, but that it's meant to catch handmade defense tools and weapons, as long as he tells them that he brought all this along in case of emergencies, though suddenly he hears a sound. We see it's from Evangel's seed, who is crying for food, as Hajin gives into its demand. He notices that it's gotten quite big, and wonders if it's about to be born. A newly born Evangel would look around 3 to 4 years old. He should be able to raise her if he gives her a different look using the witch's power. He starts to tickle and play with it, and tells it to come out soon. Now at ST Hotel, in the outskirts of Seoul. We see Jane asking her captain if she is serious about disguising herself as a cadet and infiltrate the finals personally. She replies, she is, and that is why she needs her help. Jane asks if she really needs to go that far, and she has gotten obsessed with something weird again. Captain replies that there is someone whose ability she wants to see for herself, and she has something she wants to get from the exam location as well. Jane sighs and agrees, while saying that it's not like anyone could stop her anyways. As she starts using her ability to disguise the captain, and also starts to give her the information about the cadet she is about to disguise her in, the details of how she speaks, her personality, and her habits are all written here, so she should memorize them all. Though Jane says that she is very uneasy about it and the captain tells her that she gets worried quite easily now, this is not even a big deal. Fast forward, we see the captain disguised as a cadet and is surrounded by her clingy friends. She notes that these are the friends who were mentioned in the notes earlier, as she calls it all really easy, and imitating a cadet, piece of cake. Right as she starts her acting all cutesy saying that she got no boyfriend, Hajin arrives. Upon noticing each other, both of them are left shocked and surprised. Hajin gets scared and quickly turns away. He wonders what was even that, and why on earth is the captain here, disguised as a cadet. Fast forward, and the theory exam ended, and right now, the final exams have started. We see the captain enjoying with her friends and Hajin staring at her. Captain, who was still disguised as Seo Ejin, is still at Cube. After the midterms exams, Hajin did not think that she would appear at Cube anymore, but contrary to the original novel, she appeared again. Though he don't know the reason, he considers this a chance to obtain SP, and hence he plans to follow her around. He acted friendly towards her and also talked to her, but the only thing he got out of her was a can of soda. It makes Hajin thinks that perhaps he needs to observe Kim Suho and Shin Jonghak more. The instructor tells everyone to gather up and starts to explain the rules of the final exam. They have to survive on that island for 5 days and obtain points. They can earn points by either defeating the monsters that live on the island, or they can take from other cadets. Cadets can also buy and sell points between each other. And for those cadets who want to obtain the best results, 200 points will be given to those who steal an instructor's name tag, so they can give that a try as well, which makes Hajin thinks on who would want to go against an instructor, who is currently a hero. Finally, the instructor tells everyone to follow him as he would drop them off to the designated spot. We see the students arriving at island shore on many small boats. Hajin, after getting off, notices that Rachel is also here and he calls her out. He asks her if she wants to move together with him for the final exam. Hajin thinks that it's not a coincidence that he got off the ship with Rachel instead of the other main characters. It was the result of thinking about the numerous changes due to the interference of the co-author. And as long as there is a villain who holds a grudge against Rachel, she is going to be the person in the most danger. Rachel replies and rejects his offer as she is more comfortable being alone, though Hajin claims that he knew he would be rejected. Suddenly we see Rachel's smartwatch buzzing, and Hajin has shared his location with her just in case, as he is not going to let that co-author do whatever he wants. They both start heading out their own way, and Rachel thanks him for it. At night, we see someone walking around. It's Naeun, who is attacked by a bunch of monkey-like monsters. She starts using her sword and easily takes care of them in one blow. After defeating them, she suddenly starts to chuckle lightly, and starts shouting, wondering where the hell is she. She wanders around all depressed, thinking that ever since she arrived on the island, she has been killing monsters like crazy, and is unable to find a place for food or to rest. She starts thinking that at this rate, she is going to be the first one to be eliminated. Suddenly, she notices a bright light ahead in the bush, and she starts running towards it, thinking that she is also smelling something delicious from it as she is getting closer, assuming that perhaps someone has secured food. As she finally arrives at the source, thinking that she is saved, it turns out to be Hajin's camp. She is quite shocked upon finding him, and Hajin tells her that fighting between cadets starts after another 12 hours. In surprise, she asks him on where did he got all this, and he replies that seeing how long the test was, he guessed what it was and made preparations, hearing which, she replies that she forgot that he always had good grades. She also compliments on how smart he is, and as her stomach growls, she gets embarrassed and Hajin stares at her with a deadpan expression. He asks her on how many points does she have and she replies, 25, hearing which, Hajin offers her food for half of her points. Though she is taken back by the amount at first, she quickly agrees to it, and Hajin asks if she is fine with eating pork bellies. She replies that she would have to eat if she doesn't want to die. Hajin thinks that in the end, he met Chai Naeun instead of Rachel. And in this case, he starts using his drone and watches over other cadets. We see Rachel approaching a group of cadets, as Hajin wonders if there is no change to the overall story. As she stands in front of them, they asks if she wants to buy some food. One of them tells Rachel that she can just eat, it would be a little weird to buy and sell points between cadets. Fast forward, and it's already morning as Hajin is waking up. Though looking outside, he notices that it's a polar night. In the tent, he notices that Naeun is still sleeping. And the Evangel seed starts acting up for food, as Hajin gently caresses her while asking if it's hungry. He lifts it up, calling it very cute, and puts it in his pocket, as he would be moving around. He asks Naeun if he is still sleeping, as he is going to be taking the tent, but she doesn't reply. As such, Hajin leaves her be, as he just needs to take the tent, and thinks that from now on, fights between cadets are allowed. If it's possible, it's better to retire the dangerous people first. However, they are not allowed to kill anyone. And the cadets who think that they're demonic humans aren't actually demonic humans yet. A demonic human who's in a contract with a demonic human and a demonic human who is in a contract with a demon are different. the former is expendable and are pawns who are treated like disposables for experimental purposes. But for the demonic human, their magic power is replenished, they can avoid going out of control, and their contract is flexible. In contrast to the latter, they are treated like they are the core of the force, but due to many side effects, there aren't many of them, and right now, on this island, the only cadet that has overcome the side effects is Ju Yo-hoon. And we see Hajin deciding to head to a higher ground, with his first destination being the Tree of Life, which is at the center of this island. He realizes that he needs to hurry up and quickly moves towards his destination. Meanwhile, Naeun seems to be woken up. We switch scene to some cliff, and an arrow is pointed towards someone from a bush. We see the cadet calls out to Yoon-ha upon noticing and targeting Hajin, but she immediately stops her and warns her to not mess with that person. She argues with Yoon-ha that Kim Hajin is only rank 934, but Yoon-ha still tells her that she cannot win against him. Hajin approaches a tree and takes a jumping stance. Rose notices it as well and wonders if he is trying to jump to that height and climb the Tree of Life. And that is exactly what Hajin does, and climbs the Tree of Life. Yoon-ha asks Rose if she saw that, and Rose is in shock and wonders how did he do that with just a few breaths, and Yoon-ha tells her that rankings don't apply to someone like him. If she had shot her arrow, the result would have been obvious. She also asks Rose to keep Hajin's strength a secret, to which Rose asks, why? And Yoon-ha replies that it's because she might become family with him in the future. Rose is surprised upon hearing that, and tells Yoon-ha that she will keep it a secret until she dies, and suddenly Yoon-ha's smartwatch starts buzzing. As such, Yoon-ha tells Rose to head back, as they got a message from Jin. Now on top of the tree, Hajin uses his 1,000-mile eyes. He observes many cadets and a strong-looking one among them as well. Seeing which, Hajin says that he found it. A method to blow his nose without using his hands. As such, he takes out a stick with a particular phrase and coordinates written on it, which is apparently all he needs, as he throws it towards that person using his stigma magic. We see it was aimed to be directly in front of that person. As he picks it up, he realizes the place it was shot from. And as Hajin sees him picking it up, he thinks that all he needs to do now is to wait. Now back to Naeun, who seems to be waking up. And as she gets up, she is blushing heavily. She apparently heard Hajin talking to Evangel's seed and misunderstood and started to blush. She thinks that she has heard that compliment a lot when she was young, but would anyone say that to a sleeping person? She thinks that perhaps a stray cat or a dog might have came in, or perhaps he was saying that to himself. But questions what if that's not it, and what if he said this to her? Meanwhile, Hajin wonders if someone is talking about him. Now we switch scenes to Rachel's group, and she seems quite nervous traveling with them. Rachel thinks that since last night, she accompanied and grouped with the failing class that Ju Yo-hoon's is affiliated to. They rejected the points she offered them and shared food with her, and they asked her things like if she was comfortable and looked out for her as well. And due to this all, she felt uncomfortable. In the middle of the final exam where other cadets are trying to raise their grades, they don't seem to be doing anything to acquire points. They don't care how many points other cadets have acquired. And to her, it feels like they are focused on her instead of points. She feels that something is strange, and decides that she should not stay with them any longer, and thinks that she should have partied up with Hajin instead. Suddenly a guy calls her out from on top of a tree, and she gets scared. He tells her that he has found a 10-point grizzly, and asks if she would like to catch it together with him, as he thinks it's a little too much for him to do alone. Rachel agrees to do so, and thinks that she would just help a bit and leave. He asks her to follow his lead, and Rachel thinks that if she does this, then she can probably naturally get away from them. As they arrive at the location, the guy says that this is place with that big bear right over there. But instead of a bear, we see a person standing in front of what looks like a mana portal. It seems like a demonic human, as the guy says that he does not look like an instructor and wonders who is he. Rachel senses the danger and pushes away Yoo-jun. As we see the demonic human attacks Rachel with his sharp claws. Rachel is surprised upon seeing a demonic human following her all the way to the island. But she realizes that the first thing they need to do is to run away, and she asks Yoo-jun if he is injured anywhere. He starts acting injured while saying that he is bleeding, seeing which Rachel is confused and replies that he does not seem to be hurt. He then acts scared and quickly runs away. Rachel realizes what's happening and comments that he is not great at acting. She also knew that things were suspicious. But she didn't know that a cube cadet will be an inducement for a demonic human. She misjudged that. The demonic human begins attacking and sends a large slash towards Rachel, which she dodges. But the demonic human immediately catches up to her and attacks, which she blocks. She notes that he has incredible destructive power. However, she believes that she can handle that much and deflects his attack. The demonic human again tries to attack her, but she crouches and finds an opening to counter. But suddenly, he disappears and reappears behind her while her foot gets binded by something. As she looks behind her, she realizes that it's a feint, as another demonic human appears. And this time she is unable to dodge their attack. Suddenly, we see an attack coming from the sky which completely shoots through the demonic human. Suddenly the second demonic human attacks her with a flying slash. But Kim Suho arrives and slashes the attack itself. And then shouts at Naeun to launch her attack. And Naeun shoots a huge arrow right at him. We see more cadets arrive along with Naeun, and she asks Rachel if she is okay. Since that person probably was not an instructor, Rachel replies that she is alright and thanks them for helping her. Suho looks over the cliff and thinks that he probably jumped off the cliff before the arrow could hit him. And since they don't know when she would be attacked again, Suho asks her to move together with them until they are away from this place. As all of them are leaving, Rachel suddenly notices something. She goes over to check it, and notes that it's a bullet. She is shocked and thinks that the first shot probably was not from Naeun. Now back to Suho's group, who asks Naeun if she has decided to use a sword. She gets embarrassed and replies that this is just like a sub-weapon, as she thought she would have a hard time in test if she stubbornly insisted on using the bow only, hearing which Suho laughs. Behind her, Rachel is in deep thoughts, thinking that among the people she knows, only that person uses a weapon like that. She has never seen that person use anything like a sniper rifle. She wonders, how did he knew that she was in danger, and why did he help her? And why did he not show himself after helping her? Suddenly someone calls out her name, and she snaps out of the deep thoughts. It's Naeun who tells her to travel together with them. It would be like doing a co-op mission, and asks her opinion on it. About that, she apologizes and says that she has to go now, and Suho tries to stop her by saying that it's still dangerous, hence she should travel with them a little longer. But she declines his offer and says that there is someone she has to meet. Back to Hajin, we see him checking his points that he got, and notes that to be safe, he needs to get around 50 points. He gets wondering how many monsters does he have to kill to reach that, as suddenly he notices something. We see the captain is here, seeing whom Hajin is surprised and wonders why is she here, and if she is here to fight him. But there is no way he can defeat her right now, and thinks to run away. But he decides to calm down first, as her objective for coming all the way here is probably to observe. As such, he hesitantly asks her on what is she doing here. She draws out her sword and Hajin hopes that she is not here to fight. Though seeing it, he realizes that she totally does. She asks Hajin to take out his weapon, but Hajin tells her to wait, as he knows that if he were to fight her, he would have zero chance of winning. But the requirement to win in a duel between cadets is different. He tries to distract her by talking, and all the while starts using ether. Captain tells him that if he does not pull out his weapon, she would have no choice, and he asks her to explain what's happening first. She asks if he is intending to waste time by talking nonsense. And in that case, she would take it that he is okay with her attacking him then. But Hajin has already stolen her smartwatch without her knowing. She asks him what happened, and if he is intending to surrender. Though Hajin shows her the watch and asks if it looks like hers, hearing which she checks her wrist. She is shocked upon discovering her watch is stolen, and Hajin tells her that battle between cadets are won by the person who steals the opponent's watch first, and if he presses it now, she would be disqualified. She lets out an audible, "What the hell?" and Hajin asks if she attacked him without knowing what he was capable of. But he gives her smartwatch back, telling her not to be scared. While saying that he went easy on her. She is surprised hearing that, and Hajin immediately runs away after that, while she tries to call him out. She asks Jane if she saw that, and Jane asks, "See what?" as apparently she was distracted for a moment, hearing which the captain tells her it's nothing. The captain thinks that even though more than half of her senses are gone because of Jane's talent, she cannot believe that a 17-year-old cadet is so agile and elaborate in planning, and wonders if she should have turned on a spell release technique. Back to Hajin, who has set up a camp. He says that he was so scared right now, as he would have died if she really fought him back there, and wonders if he should be glad that she is in disguise. But he was able to discover a tent in the middle of the confusion, and since he is safer now, he decides to eat first and then use some of his points. As he is looking to spend his points, he notices a sound from the bushes. It turns out to be Rachel, who finally finds Hajin. He asks if she was looking for him. She is a bit hesitant to reply, and suddenly her stomach growls out of hunger. She gets embarrassed from it, and Hajin asks if she would like some food. Rachel then asks Hajin on what he's been doing alone so far, and he replies that he has just been going around trying to get points. Though he thinks that he is a little embarrassed to say that he was the one who saved her. Seeing a wound on her neck, he wonders if she got hurt, but considers it normal as she was up against a demonic human, and as the food is cooked, he tells her that they can eat now, hearing which, she lets out an audible, "Wow." Suddenly, the evangel seed inside Hajin's jacket starts to act up, as Hajin asks it on what's wrong, but the seed jumps out of his jacket. As Rachel asks him on how did he prepared all this, the seed goes inside Rachel's jacket. And she completely freaks out and screams. Rachel takes out the evangel seed out of her jacket, and Hajin apologizes to her for it. While saying that it's some sort of almond that he is raising, Rachel doesn't quite get what he is saying, so Hajin instead simply says that he is raising a pet seed. She asks he should be raising things like that by planting it in the ground so that it won't fly around, and he agrees to do that. As they both finally decides to eat, Rachel suddenly calls him out to ask him something. She says that even though she is a little late, but would he like to team up with her, as it'd be something like a co-op mission. Hajin tells her that she is saying the same thing as Naeun, and Rachel freaks out and asks if Naeun has already proposed to him, but Hajin replies it's not it, and agrees to team up with her. She asks if it's really okay, as she already have a team of sorts, and Hajin asks what does she mean by that. She tells him about Yohoon, and Hajin tells her to not worry about him. She gets a bit confused by his statement, and says, "Pardon." But Hajin again tells her that it's alright, she should just team up with him. While we see an angry Shin sitting, who is surrounded by a bunch of cadets lying on the ground. As Yohoon arrives at the location of his team, he sees all of them lying on the ground and gets shocked upon seeing Shin Jonghak there. Shin greets him and immediately attacks him, and misses on purpose. We see he has thrown the stick, which Hajin threw at him, and it had challenge along with coordinates written on it. Yohoon tells him that it was not him, and that it was sent by someone else. But Shin Jonghak replies that it doesn't matter. Hearing which, Yohoon gets scared, while Shin gets up and walks towards him, saying that he simply doesn't like vermin like him. He grabs him by the throat and tells him that the ones that don't know their place with their tongues out are like snakes. Now at the northwest side of the island observation tower. We see Sung-a looking out of the window, as suddenly someone calls her from behind. The guy asks her on who is she thinking about. She replies, Kim Hajin, and the guy asks who is that, and wasn't she head over heels for Kim Suho? She replies that her favorite cadet is Kim Suho of course, but she got some pretty fascinating information. 2 days ago, she got a top-secret report, Yo Yoon-ha report. In that report, Yo Yoon-ha had evaluated Kim Ha-jin to be even more outstanding than Kim Suho. Though there is a chance that information is false, but they have already discovered the special circumstances of Kim Ha-jin, the fact that he can use the mana of light, and thinks that they can allow a cadet like that to deceive them once. The guy asks if it's impossible to verify that information, and she replies that she will try when she have time, and he asks if she is going to pick a fight with him. She points towards her badge, saying that she has this. A bait that is worth 200 points. We then see Rachel alone outside of the tent, thinking that the person who protected her was probably Hajin. But more importantly, she wonders why did he told her that it wasn't him. It's also a question on how did he knew that she was in danger. She suddenly remembers someone telling her that they will protect her in the past. And she thinks that today's ambush was probably his doing as well. It all makes her wonder if she should have died back then as well. We switch scenes to Hajin hunting a monster. As he kills it, he says that today's hunt is going pretty well. Although Rachel did not seem to be in a good condition this morning, but she recovered quickly after he gave her meat to eat. Suddenly he notices something and goes to check it out. There he finds a huge lake, and he is surprised knowing that there is a lake in a place like this. He thinks that there should be a monster worth quite a few points here, a crocodile monster perhaps. He makes a sphere of light, thinking that it should be easy to lure it out with it if he shines it over the lake. Suddenly he hears some noise and looks back, shouting, "Who's there?" But he doesn't see anyone and thinks that whoever they are pretty good at stalking. But he uses his 1,000 miles eyes, while saying that now that he discovered them, they cannot escape from his eyes, as we see that it's Naeun. He immediately shoots at her, while missing on purpose. She comes out of hiding while being pissed, and Hajin asks her on why is she stalking him, and she replies that she wasn't after him. He asks her on what is it then. She gets a bit hesitant to reply, and Hajin notices it and tells her that she is lost for words because she was stalking him, and she refutes it and changes the topic, asking on what did he do to her. But Hajin tells her to answer his question first, and she replies that she has told him already that she was not after him, she is after Sung-ah. He asks if it's the Yoon Sung-ah that he knows of, and she confirms and asks on why is he speaking casually to her. He ignores her and opens up his laptop, prompting Naeun to ask on why is he suddenly kneeling down while talking, and he tells her to wait. Hajin remembers that he knows the whereabouts of Yoon Sung-ah within the novel. During the first and second day, she was monitoring Kim Soo-ho. During the third and fourth day, she should be monitoring the rest of the promising cadets, and the fact she is after him means he is also among the list of Yoon Sung-ah's promising cadets. Naeun asks Hajin on how did he do what he just did, that thing he made, the sphere of light. He replies that what she said was correct, but also warns her to not try to find out more information, and tells her to shut up if she understood, with a charismatic smile, but Naeun is disgusted by it. She asks if he has gone crazy and replies that she is not even interested, and won't ask anymore, and it pisses off Hajin as she was the one who asked it first. He tells Naeun to go the other side since he arrived here first, and she reluctantly agrees to his orders. Hajin thinks that he might come off as arrogant to her, but he cannot tell her the truth. Since if he tells her about the mana of stigma, then he would also need to tell her about the fact that this world is within a novel. Fast forward, we see Hajin has killed many monsters to collect points. He notes that it's been 2 hours since he has split up with Naeun. Since he was busy farming on low-medium grade monsters, he managed to obtain 15 points pretty quickly. Suddenly his gaze shifts, while saying that there is a problem, and we see someone arriving and greeting Hajin. We see it's Sung-ah, who tells Hajin that they will be meeting for the first time, since she got rejected. Hajin doesn't have much of a reaction except for, I guess, and Sung-ah asks if she appeared too abruptly, and asks Hajin to relax. She informs Hajin that she is actually here to conduct events, on top of testing the abilities of cadets. He asks her about events, and she replies that the rule is very simple, she would be staying in one spot and will only use her left hand, and he can attack her all he wants. And if just one of the attack is able to deal damage to any part of her body other than her left hand, or make her take a single step, then she will give him her name tag. She asks, it's easy, isn't it? And Hajin thinks that the name tag of an inspector is worth 200 points. One can easily become number 1 right away after getting it. That is definitely an attractive proposal. However, the opponent is the cream of the crop, hero Yoon Sung-ah. As such, he questions if he would be able to pull it off. She asks how would he like to proceed, if he would like to give up here or will he take up the challenge. Hajin chuckles and pulls out his weapon while saying, what a sudden event this is. He shoots the bullet toward Sung-ah, who is completely unfazed by it. The bullet gets incredibly close to her, while she thinks that it's time to see how strong Hajin is and easily deflects bullet. The bullet is completely deformed, while she notes that him being able to create the sphere of light, and having this much power from a pistol. And this all convinces her that the report was not unfounded, as she tells Hajin that his attack stung a little. Hajin gets in bit of a pickle, as he notes that she was able to deflect a strengthened magic bullet easily without using mana. Realizing that straightforward attacks will be useless, he pulls out his daggers and throws it at her. But she dodges them easily, while commenting that he was a swordsman before a sharpshooter, which makes it a good decision to use both swords and ranged weapon at the same time. Hajin once again readies his weapon and this time shoots multiple bullets at her, which she once again easily deflects. Sung-ah says that the firepower is way more powerful than those of the training firearms, which makes her recognize that he is indeed talented with firearms, as suddenly something shines behind her. The daggers she dodged before suddenly comes back from behind her, and Hajin thinks that it's too far for her left hand to reach, he can win like this. But Sung-ah releases her ability and all the daggers gets deflected away from her. Hajin gives up, thinking that he cannot do anything about it. Meanwhile, Sung-ah calls it fascinating that he was able to change the path of his knife with his mana, and asks what kind of technique was it, and says that he is just like an onion. She then asks if he has any other talents, but Hajin holsters his weapon while thinking that now that it has come to this, and simply starts leaving. Sung-ah gets confused by his behavior and tries to stop him. She asks him where is he going, as things were just getting fun, but Hajin looks back and tells her that she moved. Since she said that she would only use her left hand, but she has used her leg as well. Sung-ah gets pissed and asks Hajin if he is treating her proposal as a joke. Hajin replies that he was just trying his luck, as it's just a waste of time since the difference between their stats is obviously huge. As such, he gets moving while saying that he will give up here. But actually, he was half serious about insisting that she lost just now, but she is too scary, so he was unable to go through with it. Sung-ah tries to stop him, saying that he will regret this, but he simply ignores her and walks away. Meanwhile, we see Captain was standing on top a tree branch and observing the fight between them. Droon contacts her and asks if the infiltration was successful, which she replies, yes. Droon says that it wouldn't be a good choice to be moving separately from the team, as her friends might say that she is suspicious, but the captain replies that it's a worse choice to travel with them. Suddenly she hears something, and Droon asks her, what happened? She replies that she heard a heartbeat, and that butterfly sapling is about to awaken. Butterfly sapling, it's a spirit-type monster that leeches off a tree like a parasite. It appeared on the last day of the final and was killed by all the main characters. In the process of that, Kim Soo-ho obtaining the dust of the sapling, and Rachel getting a hint about the enlightenment was how the original story went. However, right now, she has formed a team with Hajin, and in order to help her with enlightenment, Hajin would need to lead her to join the battle against the butterfly sapling. But there is a problem, as Rachel calls out to Hajin and asks him on why does he keep going circles around this vicinity. And the problem being, not even Hajin knows where exactly the butterfly sapling will appear. We switch scenes and see an incredible amount of large monsters are piled up, with someone saying that they would probably get first place in the finals like this. And it's Kim Soo-ho and his team, as Rachel asks if there is only 20 hours left until the test is over, while Young-han runs away to drink some water. As Soo-ho is getting up, Naeun calls out to him to ask something. And she asks, what does he think of Kim Hajin? He replies, why is she suddenly asking him that? And she says that it feels like he is hiding a lot of things. He was constantly suspicious both in the museum and in Paris. It's also suspicious that he's pretty high-ranked and strong despite having that frail-looking body of his, which Soo-ho agrees with as well. Suddenly, Soo-ho remembers Hajin words about Naeun. And upon remembering, he starts to smile, which causes Naeun to ask on what is with his reaction. Soo-ho replies that he is simply agreeing that he looks like he is hiding a lot of things, and due to his previous reaction, Naeun thinks that Soo-ho knows something and angrily asks him to tell her as well. But Soo-ho replies that she should find out herself, and why is she asking him instead? Suddenly a huge tree root starts growing beside them, and as they all look over, they see the tree root starts moving, which shocks them. Hajin notices it as well, as we see cadets trying to run away and defend themselves against it. Rachel feels the trembling, and wonders what on earth is this. Hajin calls her out and tells her to go to the source of the tremors and kill the monster with him, and she must protect him when they are near the monster. Rachel agrees with his plan, and Hajin thinks that the cadets who felt the tremors must be heading towards the butterfly saplings now, and he won't let them have this opportunity. And like this, both Rachel and Hajin heads out to join the fight. Meanwhile, Sung-ah is also observing the monster, and the guy contacts her, that such monster was not expected to appear, and wonders if they should stop the test. But she replies that it's probably going to be alright. The abilities of the cadets taking the test right now should be able to take it down without any problems, and the black guy replies that her ways are way too old-fashioned. She asks if he really thinks so, and tells Vieri to not underestimate them, as the cadets are the hero. And heroes always grow during crisis, as we see Naeun using her sword to cut down one of the roots. She excitedly exclaims, how's that? And Soo-ho says it was incredible. But he also tells her that the cutting power will increase way more if she circulate the sword energy near the sword, and Naeun gets annoyed and tells Soo-ho to tell her about that later. Young-han questions on why does they keep appearing endlessly no matter how many of them they take down. Soo-ho replies that if taking down the roots is not doing anything, then they would have to destroy the main body first. One of the cadet tells everyone to look over to the tree, as it's strange and something inside the cocoon is moving. The cocoon starts to break and we see a huge butterfly coming out of it. Everyone is shocked to see it, and the butterfly spreads its wings and starts flying over them. It also starts to spread some kind of dust on them, due to which everyone starts to lose their strength and consciousness. Naeun also loses her consciousness and falls on Soo-ho. Soo-ho carries them both and have them sit beside a tree, noting that they are simply asleep and the dust is not venomous. He holds his breath, and notes he won't be able to keep moving like this and would have to defeat it before catching another breath. Suddenly he notices two people jumping out of a tree towards the butterfly. And Suho gets shocked upon seeing that it's Hajin and Rachel, who both also have masks on them. As Rachel and Hajin arrives, and upon noticing cadets lying on the ground, she wonders if Hajin predicted all this and prepared everything in advance. Hajin calls out to Rachel and asks her if she sees the butterfly monster over there, and he would be defeating it, but he would need her to protect him from the roots. She agrees with it, and Hajin pulls out his weapon and shoots its wings, causing it to scream in pain. The roots attack Hajin, but Rachel comes to defend and slices all the roots which are coming towards them. As the roots fall back, suddenly the ground starts to tremble and Rachel notices that it's from right below them. As the roots attacks from below, Rachel pushes Hajin away from them, but her leg gets kagoot in the process. And she gets thrown right into a tree with powerful force. Hajin looks over and is shocked, and the roots targets and attacks him this time. But he gets saved by Kim Suho's timely arrival, and Suho opens his mouth to ask something. But instead inhale some of the dust instead. Behind them, Hajin notices that Rachel has fainted, and he wonders what should he do now. Suddenly the evangel seed in Hajin's jacket rushes off, which shocks Hajin as he asks it, where is it going? It straight up goes for Rachel's blood. Suho asks if they are trying to take down the butterfly, and that he will help as well, though he won't be able to move for long. Hajin thinks that his stigma's magic can make about 3 more fire bullets. He has to wrap this up with only that. Hajin accepts Suho's help and asks him to lend his hand. He tells him that as he saw, his last bullet missed. It's quite fast, which is unusual for a spirit-type monster. To make sure he can kill it, he would have to get close to it and aim from there, and he has to hold its attention until he can get close. Suho agrees with his plan and imbues his sword with mana. And upon seeing it, Hajin notes that it's the magic of the Sword Saint and wonders if it's stronger from back when he saw it in the museum. Suho looks back at Hajin and calls it quite strange, and Hajin asks, "What is?" He replies that no matter what he pulls out, Hajin never seems surprised, and the way he saw through Naeun's talent. And when he sees him, he seems like someone who knows everything about this world. Hearing which, leaves Hajin quite shocked. Suho then quickly jumps up to grab the butterfly's attention and starts slicing the roots. Hajin stares at Suho for a bit, while thinking something. He then also starts running, while replying to his words in his mind, that how else would he know? He is the author who created this world after all. We see Hajin climbing up a tree, noting that he has come across a problem. This world that he wrote as a novel is currently unveiling right before his eyes. Remembering Suho's words, which was the moment he figured it out, that he has become a character in his own novel. He points the weapon towards the butterfly, while saying that he is the novel's extra. He shoots the butterfly, and this time it hits the target, and Suho is a bit surprised seeing the fire-type attack, and realizes that it was Hajin and thinks that it should be over now, and the butterfly starts falling towards the ground. Hajin thinks that the firepower was lacking a bit, and starts preparing for another shot. But suddenly, we see someone attacking the butterfly with crackling purple lightning. Hajin is shocked upon seeing it, and wonders what was that, and we see someone walking towards it. And upon looking over, Hajin realizes that it's the captain of the chameleon troop. Hajin wonders if she is after the butterfly dust, and as the butterfly is falling to the ground, Suho rushes towards it and deals the final blow. And it finally gets defeated, and Suho also falls down with a smile of satisfaction on his face. The captain goes over to the butterfly corpse, and is about to pick up the loot. But Hajin arrives and asks her to hand it over, while telling her that it's an item she cannot take. Hajin thinks that she still doesn't know exactly what functions the butterfly's dust has. She probably came for the dust because the loot from a spirit can sell for an expensive price. In order to fight the spirits that will appear in the future, Kim Suho must get the butterfly's dust. The captain looks over and sees many of the cadets lying on the ground unconscious. While thinking that even though the butterfly is dead and the sleeping effect is not as effective, she cannot believe that a mere cadet is still standing. Due to this, she calls Kim Hajin a truly weird one, and that she needs to observe him more. Meanwhile, Hajin is reaching his limit of withstanding the dust with his ether, and is having a hard time breathing as well. As such, he quickly tries to put up his mask, but suddenly he is seemingly attacked by the captain. Her powers creating a complete black ball, isolating both Hajin and herself from the world. Inside there, she removes her disguise and asks Hajin that he knows her, doesn't he? And Hajin replies that she is Li Shuopeng. The captain starts thinking on who is Li Shuopeng, and remembers that it's the fake identity she used while approaching Hajin in the past. She replies that she is indeed her, and questions Hajin, according to him, on what does he think she is here for. Hajin replies, isn't she here to supervise, and the captain asks how long has he known that she was Li Shuopeng. Right as Hajin is about to once again lie, she attacks him. She almost threatens to kill him, but stops and instead threatens to beat him up if he dares to lie, and Hajin gets scared and answers that it was back he stole the watch. As when he saw her up close, he knew that she was a little different, and she gets confused about his statement. And Hajin tells her that he has pretty sharp eyes. The captain thinks Jane's talent cannot be seen through just by having sharp eyes. However, Hajin was not only able to see through Jane's talent, but also the cognition impediment device. And due to all this, she starts to think that perhaps Hajin's mana is anti-magic. It's a special circumstance where all the mana within him is anti-magic. In that case, it'd make sense how he was able to see through Jane's talent, since he just needs to focus mana on his optic nerves to do that. And if that's true, then it means his very precious resource that she must not lose. She removes the sphere and hands over the butterfly dust to Hajin, while trying to ask something in return. Though she stops in the middle, and thinks what to say, and Jane tells her to please not say anything strange, and to just do what she says if she doesn't know what to say, and to not rush and take it slow. Captain finally speaks up, and asks Hajin for his contact number. Fast forward, Hajin thought that he was going to die. But he did manage to achieve an important objective. And now he wonders, how can he give this to Kim Suho naturally? Since the captain suddenly interfered, he has to think of a way. Suddenly, he remembers about Rachel and the seed. We see the seed is shining in gold color, and Hajin, upon seeing it, realizes what is happening and thinks that it's happening right now of all times. As Evangel is finally hatching. We see Rachel in her sleep, thinking that she needs to defeat the spirit quickly, and that she needs to become the number one and become the pride of the imperial family. Suddenly she has a weird feeling and wonders what is happening. As her eye starts to open, she notices that it's too bright, and sees a small child. She wonders who is she, and her wound starts to feel like they are healing, and it feels incredibly warm as well. Rachel notes that the little kid also feels very familiar. It's almost as if she is a younger version of herself. The little kid says something, but Rachel is unable to hear it properly. She thinks that she needs to ask her again properly about it, but is unable to do so and starts feeling sleepy. As Hajin arrives near her, Rachel tries her best to ask the little kid on what did she just said. The little kid, upon seeing Hajin, calls him dad and tells him that mom fell asleep again. Now fast forward in the morning, the instructor wakes up the sleeping students and gets them back to the ship. The chaotic fourth day passed by in a flash, and at 9 a.m. the next day, they were able finally close the sickening chapter of the finals. While there was the butterfly sapling incident, which the supervising officers completely didn't expect, a negotiation concluded that the 4 cadets that stopped it would share the points. And we see Hajin get some new messages as well. He notes that there is still no contact from the chameleon troop, and wonders what caused the captain to take interest in him, and while he is in his thoughts, someone calls out to him. It's Naeun, who asks him how did it end back then. Hajin, confused, asks what ended, and Naeun replies that she doesn't remember anything after the halfway point. Suho told her that Hajin destroyed its wings. But Hajin says that it's utter nonsense, and how would he destroy it with a weapon like his, and Naeun replies that she also thinks that it's too ridiculous. But suddenly, Hajin asks her why did she use a sword instead of a bow. She gets pissed hearing that, and shouts that he only told her to use that, but Hajin replies there needs to be progress for it to be usable, as it's too dangerous to use a weapon that she is not trained in. But Naeun tells him to not be worried about her, as he is not that clumsy. Hajin sighs and replies, is that so? He then asks her, how does she feel after using the sword? She tries to think what to answer, and Hajin says that it's probably still scary, isn't it? But she replies, what is he talking about? She is not scared of shit. Hajin remembers and thinks that it's very obvious when Naeun is lying. It's one of those cringy behaviors he set for her. He smiles and wonders, why did something remain the same? He then reaffirms her that even so, she will become good with sword, as she is born with a talent for sword, after all. Fast forward to Cube, Yoonha tells Naeun that in her opinion, Hajin seems to be interested in her. Naeun gets defensive hearing that, and tries to deny it, and Yoonha asks Suho if Hajin told him anything, since they both seems to be close, and Suho wonders if they are close. But regardless, Suho remembers what Hajin told him back in Paris and replies that Yoonha isn't totally wrong, and Yoonha adds that Hajin is totally cold towards everyone that approaches him, but he seems to be extra interested in Naeun. Naeun replies and asks Yoonha that wasn't she close to Hajin at first, and she replies that he only approached her because he wanted something from her, and this type of interest would be different. She starts to blush and again tries to deny that. Yoonha asks her, what is she going to do, and she replies, there is nothing to be done. Suddenly, Yoonha notices and calls out his name, and Naeun quickly turns her back and blushes. Hajin turns towards them and they all greet each other. Hajin glances at Naeun and leaves immediately after. Yoonha teases her, saying that Hajin just glanced at her, didn't he, and Naeun starts to get embarrassed and tells Yoonha to stop already. Fast forward, and Hajin is back to his dorm room, as he tells someone that he is here and asks if they caused any trouble. And it's Evangel, who comes running towards him while calling him dad. Hajin is quite conflicted upon hearing her call him dad, and tells her to not run. Evangel asks him, where was he, and he replies that he told her before he went to buy her food. He also instructs her to not call her dad, and she asks why, and he replies that because people will get misunderstandings, but Evangel doesn't understand and Hajin simply asks her to call him uncle or Hajin. But she once again asks why, and Hajin thinks that she would require some education. But she simply looks over to him and smiles brightly. And Hajin remembers that Evangel hatched besides Rachel that day. That time, Hajin was quite surprised, and is confused upon hearing her call him dad, and tells her that she suddenly started running by herself, but Evangel insists that he is her dad. Hajin replies that he took care of her, and suddenly she jumps and hugs him, saying that he certainly did. As Hajin notices a helicopter flying above, he asks Evangel to turn back into being a seed, and she gets confused. Hajin explains that round and small previous appearance, but she asks, what about mom? Hajin thinks to himself that she really shouldn't call her that and tells her that she is busy, and such Evangel turns back into her seed form. And this is how she ended up in his room, and Hajin thinks that this whole thing looks as if he has a secret child, and such calls Evangel out to eat first. We see her quite elated in eating the food and finding it tasty as well. Hajin asks her to eat quietly, which she does so. And now, he looks over to the dust of butterfly sapling and wonders what should he do with that, as apparently, it helps to awaken hidden dormant potential. Write it sound simply, the main point here would be the target of the dormant potential, which means it can apply to both people or objects that have dormant potential. Originally, this should have landed in the hands of Rachel and Kim Suho. But now, Hajin thinks on how can he give it to them. Now we switch scenes to Rachel's room, who is lying on her bed and wondering, whose child was it that she saw? Actually, it was more like that she felt her instead of seeing her, and she still remembers it vividly. She wonders if was the spirit of the tree or something. There are a lot of things that are still unknown about the power of the spirits after all, or perhaps she was simply hallucinating. But for that to have been a hallucination, she still keeps thinking of her warmth. And she feels like that they will eventually meet one day. Now fast forward to some time later, we see a huge stone statue. And below that, Yoonha seems to be waiting for someone while looking at her watch. The person arrives, as Yoonha notices and says that he is finally here. And that she thought he would reject her, as the person turns out to be Hajin. She also tells him that there is one more person they are waiting for, and since it seems that they will be late, they should go first. Hajin replies, okay, and wonders who is it. Now as they are traveling in the car, Yoonha says that she heard that he did pretty well in the final exams this time around, and Hajin replies that it was only 67 points, and Yoonha tells him that he should have aimed for 20 points or less if he doesn't want to attract attention, and that he is starting to get attention of other guilds as well. As Hajin is looking out of the window, Yoonha says that it's coming into sight, and seeing it, Hajin is quite surprised and Yoonha welcomes him to her guild, the Essence of the Straight. Some time ago, Hajin got a notification on his smartwatch about the guild tour announcement. Guild tour. This event is made so that cadets that are on school holidays can observe how heroes perform missions in person. The guilds in the country are given priority to choose the cadets that they want based on their ranking. And Hajin is also curious about what heroes do, and he is sure that there will be other missions besides the one he wrote about. However, each guild can only choose up to 3 cadets from the first and second years, because of that, first years usually don't get chosen if they are ranked 300 or below. And based on his ranking that he obtained when he joined the academy, it would probably be hard for him to make it to the top 300 even though he did really well in the finals, calling it such a pity. Suddenly, his watch rings, and he is surprised that someone actually contacted him, and he wonders, who the hell is it? It's from the hero Straits, as he is chosen for the guild tour, and if he doesn't want to go, he can also contact them to inform. Now back to the present, at the essence of the Strait. A guy walking them starts to explain about the tour, saying that there are a lot of missions that takes place here. Missions that are of a certain level and above can only be taken on after the office has completed its analysis of the mission. Hajin glances over at Yoon-ha and thinks that she was probably the one who put his name on the list. The daughter of a guild leader should have that much power. As the guide takes them to one of the room, which Hajin figures out is the analysis room. The guide says that he has heard Hajin is the number one in theory, hence he wanted to show him this room first, and the guide is in between intermediate and advanced grade and the left-hand man of Yoon-ha, Park Sang-ho. He is the hero that is in charge of this round's guild tour, and he also looks like a nice person. So good to the point that if he weren't the one who wrote this novel, even he would not have thought that he is a vicious villain who would backstab Yoon-ha in the future. And suddenly, another person arrives, noting that the cadets are here. She is also a hero that is in between an intermediate and advanced grade, Lee Jin-ah. She starts to mock Hajin and takes dig on Yoon-ha by saying that the world has gotten a lot better. To think someone who is ranked 934th is able to have a guild tour at Hero Straits, and she wonders who managed to pull that off. Hajin thinks that there is no way she would have a good impression of him. Since Lee Jin-ah is supporting Jung Hoseok, the current vice-captain of the Hero Straits, she is probably disgusted with the daughter of the guild leader who is also the rightful successor. But that is only happening right now. In the future, she would join Yoon-ha as one of her people and climb to the position of vice-captain with her own strength, the most outstanding person within the guild. Sang-ho tells Lee Jin that Hajin ranked first when it comes to theory, and she replies that it doesn't matter, as she was also number one when it came to that. And that the theories that cadets learn about aren't even that crucial, hearing which pisses Hajin off. As she asks Hajin, wouldn't he agree with it, while calling him theory number one kid. Suddenly, she gets an idea and gives him something to solve, saying that if he is that confident in his abilities, he should try solving this. Sang-ho tells her to not divulge the information to others like this, and she replies that it's fine since it's nothing special. Hajin gets quite pissed, as she tells him that he should give it a try, that is if a kid like him can even understand it, and Hajin thinks that this is making him competitive. He accepts it and asks her to borrow some paper. She once again tries to make fun of him, by saying that does he think he can write the answer down if she gives him some paper. Yoon-ha then gets a message on her watch that the last person has arrived on the first floor. As such, Song-ha asks her to go with him to fetch that person together. Meanwhile, Hajin is staying back in the analysis room to solve the paper. Hajin notes that the content of this is about the variables that could occur when raiding a dungeon, and this is definitely a question that a cadet wouldn't be able to answer. But for Hajin, as long as he has observation and reading, he just needs to write down the calculations that appear in front of him and copy it down on the paper. We see him almost being done, and is on the last part, but someone suddenly snatches the paper from him. It's Lee Jin, who asks him if he is still doing it, and haven't he realized that everyone has gone out, and tells Hajin to stop doing this unnecessary thing and leave already. Hajin gets quite pissed due to that. Though he ends up leaving, thinking that he was not able to write down the last part, and that she better not ask him for the last part later on. As the lift arrives on the first floor, we see him walking into Naeun. She is shocked seeing Hajin here, and asks Yoon-ha on what is he doing here, and she replies, who knows. She starts to smirk and tease Naeun, and Hajin thinks in surprise that the last person turned out to be Naeun, though he wonders why didn't Yoon-ha told him about her. Now it gets evening, and we switch scenes to Jin Hyuk's office, who is quite shocked as he was only able to get a few pieces of paper as the result of digging thoroughly for a month. Kim Hajin, the number of people he has been connected to so far, who his parents are and how he became an orphan, no matter how hard he tries to find information about him, he wasn't able to find a lot of details. He looks defeated, saying that his niece sure gave him a difficult task. But the more difficult it is, the more his interest is getting piqued. Back to the guild tour, Sang-ho tells them that today's guide will be an activation mission. They need to be on standby until they get activation orders. Sang-ho asks Naeun why was she late, and she replies that it was because she was meeting her grandfather before she came. Hearing which, he gets excited and asks if she is talking about the great hero, Chai Jukiel, and behind them, we see Yoon-ha checking something on her smartwatch. Yoon-ha tells them to go ahead, as she needs to make a call. As she gets on the call, it's her uncle. She asks him how is the thing that she asked him to help with. He replies, he still haven't gotten started yet, as he has been pretty busy. She gets pissed hearing that and replies, is he messing with her right now? He asks, why is she trying to find his parents, and in the first place, does he even want to find his parents? She replies, probably, as Hajin has memorized the wanted persons list, and she thinks that his parents got caught up in some crime. Hearing that, he thinks about the Gwango shelter massacre incident and goes silent. She calls him out and asks when would he start looking, and he makes an excuse that a visitor has came and he would talk again later. She tries to tell him to wait, but he cuts the call immediately after. He wonders if Hajin is really related to that incident. Gwango shelter massacre incident, 16 years ago, when monsters flooded the Gwango fortress area. It was the incident where the 87 normal civilians in the shelter and the 9 heroes that defended that place were all massacred. And he got caught red-handed trying to look into this incident more than 10 years ago and was expelled out of the Yo family. Although the government and the association concluded that it was done by the demonic humans, that is what it just looks like on the surface. The true perpetrator behind that incident was the president of South Korea at that time, Kim Se-oko, the chairman of Daehyun, Chai Jukiel, and his brother, Yo Yoon-ha's father, Ju Jin-yong. And what is worse was they actually hired assassins to do it. To them, it was probably not even that important. But he wonders, what if there were survivors from that incident? Could Kim Ha-jin's parents really be victims of that incident from 16 years ago, and if he is actually plotting revenge? That would be dangerous. This matter won't end that easily, and if keeps on digging, the moment that crazy old man, Chai Jukiel, notices what he is doing, he will die a terrible death. Now we switch scenes to the guild tour again, as we see everyone running towards the location, as the announcement is made that a large group of stone golems have appeared on some street. Upper immediate rank hero, Park Sang-ho, he is to be dispatched. Sang-ho asks Naeun, where is Hajin, and she replies, that he will catch up, it's okay. Meanwhile, Yoon-ha is annoyed as well, as Naeun asks her why is she making such a face, and she replies, it's nothing, while thinking about her talk with her uncle. And as they are running, Sang-ho spots the golem and tells everyone. We see some civilians are about to be attacked by it, as it tries to smash them down. Suddenly, Yoon-ha uses her whip and binds its hands, and Sang-ho rushes towards it, commending Yoon-ha for doing a good job. He then attacks it by throwing his spear right at it. Meanwhile, Hajin is still running and finally catches up, and Naeun is targeting one of the golem, noting that it's about 2 meters tall. Though she puts away her bow and thinks that she can probably deal with it with her sword and jumps at him to attack. She notices its ankle and tries to aim for that, but the golem realizes her intention. It punches Naeun right in her gut, and she falls down on the ground. We see her trying to heal and saying, how is the golem so fast? And the golem immediately continues its attack and tries to punch her. Hajin shouts at her to dodge from behind, and we see the punch lands and debris began to fly. But suddenly, we see Hajin is in quite the shock for some reason. And we see Naeun is actually in his arms, as he wonders what the hell is happening right now. Because he wanted to help Naeun so badly, his ether reacted automatically and pulled Naeun over to him. Naeun gets embarrassed and Hajin thinks that he needs to say something quickly, and tells her that if she is going to keep freezing in critical moments, she should just fight at long range instead. And tells her that her sword can become longer than that, isn't it? She tells Hajin to mind his business, and she simply made a mistake because she let her guard down, but he should watch carefully from now on. Though as she turns back and thanks Hajin for helping her while blushing. Hajin thinks the reason why Naeun had to be a swordsman was because she has a mana capacity that is several times larger than that of a typical hero. Her talent, Mana C, her mana capacity that is even larger than Kim Suho, has no output limits when she is using her sword as a medium. Fast forward as the operation ends, Sang-ho tells them they should go back as the rescue unit has also arrived and they have taken care of all of them as well. Suddenly, Hajin notices someone standing on top of a building. He turns back towards her and thinks that it's obvious who she is as she is watching over Hajin. Naeun calls him out, saying, what is he standing around for, and to let's go. Hajin turns back and apologizes to her for getting the ether first. Back inside the guild, Lee Jin is stretching out, saying her shoulders are so sore. Her assistant asks if she is calculating, even though she told her that it's okay to ask those in the office to do this, and she replies that she is smarter than those guys. Her assistant then asks, what is up with that paper, and was she using a pen and paper to calculate, and she replies, this is a scribbling of that arrogant brat. She picks up, thinking to grade it a little, and is completely shocked seeing its content and wonders, what is this? We see Lee Jin messaging him, asking him if they can talk for a while, and to answer her call for a quick talk, but tells him that since he is coming to the guild tomorrow, they can talk then anyways. But Hajin thinks of not going at all, and that now he knows roughly how guild operates, so he doesn't have any business there anymore. As such, he messages Sangho that he won't be able to participate in the guiding tour tomorrow, and he asks, why? Hajin grins, and thinks to have some fun teasing her. Hajin messages Sangho that someone said that he was 934th with a support network. Instead of being treated like that, he thinks it's better to give the other cadets a chance, and seeing his message, Sangho looks over to Lee Jin. He gets pissed at her, and asks her what is the meaning of this, and she gets scared and replies that she didn't intend for this to happen. Hajin laughs and thinks that this should be enough, and he can already imagine how angry Yoon-ha will be. He then starts to get sleepy, noting that he is tired as he went to a bunch of places today, but he have something to do today. As such, he decides to do it quickly while Evangel is still asleep. We see him taking out the butterfly dust. He stares at it and thinks that no matter how he looks at it, there is a lot more than he thought. And if it's this much, a little to Kim Suho and Rachel, and he can use it as well, and divides it into 3 equal parts. Hajin thinks that while those 2 are important, he needs to survive as well, and he should use it when he have the chance to. He should strike while the iron is hot, and he should do it when it comes to mind. It would be a waste to use on his physique, since he only have SP and no potential power. Hence, the thing he should use this dust on is ether. He starts to pour it on the ether, and waits till it gets absorbed. Suddenly, he gets a message, and it's from Naeun, which he thinks is out of the blue. She has texted him thanks for today, and is trying to say one more thing, as Hajin waits for her to continue. 10 minutes later, he is still waiting as Hajin thinks that one of the 2 ways to make a person go crazy is to stop talking halfway. He texts her back, asking, what is it? And she asks in reply, what does he want from her? Hajin is a bit annoyed knowing that she was the one who started the convo and tells her to sleep. Hajin thinks, what the hell was that? And calls it quite stupid, but gives of a faint smile while saying that. As it is quite surprising that he is messaging Naeun like that, calling this emotional feeling new. As he started off as an extra that had no contact with the main story. And despite all that, he somehow ended up here. If he thinks about his role right now, he is like a supporting character, since nothing is set in stone, he can change anything. Now we switch scenes to Yoon-ha, who is thinking that there is a lot more things that she needs to take care of, and she needs to write up the guild tour report and guild recruitment post. There is an information team at Essence of the Strait, but it's not enough, the system is ready, so she just needs to hire some people. She once again gets pissed thinking about her uncle, thinking that instead of waiting for that lazy human, she would just do it herself. Suddenly, she gets a call from Naeun, and she wonders why is she calling her at this time. They both greet each other and Yoon-ha asks her, what's up, why did she call all of a sudden, and that she is quite busy. Naeun replies that she is going to a seminar with Suho next Tuesday and asks her if she would like to come as well. As Yoon-ha is about to decline, Naeun tells her that Shin Jong-hak is coming as well, and Yoon-ha immediately agrees upon hearing that. She asks Naeun if that is why she called him, and Naeun replies, no, and asks her if she saw that drone footage of yesterday's fight with the stone golem. Yoon-ha replies that she did, since she needs to write up the report, and Naeun replies that it's about that. Yoon-ha asks if she is talking about the part where Hajin helped her. Naeun gets flustered and refuses, and Yoon-ha teases her by saying that it was filmed properly, and it looked like she went right into his arms, hearing which she curses. And tells Yoon-ha to not dare to share it. Yoon-ha smirks and replies, why would she, and asks her if it felt good, and Naeun replies, what is she even saying? Yoon-ha laughs and tells her that she is busy and hangs up. Meanwhile, we see Naeun blushing quite heavily after her conversation with Yoon-ha. Yoon-ha smiles while saying that Naeun is not honest at all and starts to get back to her work. She suddenly gets another message, which annoys her. This time the message informs her that Hajin is giving up on the guild tour and that it was Lee Jin who said that, hearing which she is annoyed and tells him to hang up. Yoonha gets very pissed at her and calls her crazy, as they were barely there in getting him to sign the contract, and is also annoyed at Kim Hajin, saying that his moves are unpredictable. Meanwhile, Hajin gets a notification of his SP increasing, and he is confused about it, though he is happy for receiving it. He then decides to invest this SP as well, and thinks that no matter how hard he tries, his physical stats will fall behind with time. So the best he can do is choose and focus. Since he used the sapling dust for his ether, he is going to put all the SP into a weapon instead of physique. Hajin notes that on the outside it looks like an unlucky talent, but since his luck is in the top 0.1%, the effectiveness for him will be good, although whether the writing will be successful or not is another issue. But he decides to go through with it. As he types in the talent, he prays for it to be successful. The talent writing is successful, but due to not having enough SP the quality decreases, but Hajin's luck activates and loss recovers. Hajin breathes relief, while thinking that he is not totally satisfied, but since this is an unbelievable setup he should be thankful for that much. Hajin notes that his preparations are complete, as the reason he rushed the enhancement preparations is due to a reason. And once again, he gets a message on his smartwatch. It's from the travel club, with their next destination being decided as England, as the reason for rushing was due to the main story starting again soon. Fast forward after a week, Hajin's summer break was like a consecutive series of hellish training sessions, because he still need to train even though he put all of his SP into weapon. And despite training so hard, his stats are still average. But his ether was able to complete its maturing. To summarize the changes, physical strengthening has increased by 0.7, and it's got 2 additional functions, to details manifestation, which can manifest some color and feel. He thinks to give it a try, and thinks that it would be hard to make a firearm since its composition is complicated, as such he tries to make a knife from it. He succeeds, and notes that it looks and feels like a normal knife. But he uses his identify skill and checks its stats, and we see the random enhancement skill is applicable on it as well. He throws the knife and says that its power is nowhere near the normal, as the knife pierces through the rock and slices it in half. Hajin is quite surprised upon seeing its power, and calls it pretty useful, though compared to the relics, it's not as powerful, but what is important is its outer appearance. A normal-looking item would cause others to drop their guards, and that's when daggers will stab through heart of the one who let their guard down. That is good enough. Now back in his dorm, he tells Evangel to be nice and quiet while he is out for his club activities. And he would also buy her delicious food, and she happily agrees. He also tells her that she can only make animals with the spirit friend, and she must not make any of humans. She gets annoyed by all of his nagging and tells Hajin that she got it already. Hajin then leaves for his trip and they both say goodbye to each other. Now we switch scenes to Rachel, and someone tells her that she doesn't need to worry anymore. And their contract with Cube has ended, and they have decided to recruit trustworthy agents, and she thanks him for it. And Henry then says about Hajin, that the cadet who saved her, he would like to approach him using the Imperial Guild offer, if she is okay with it, and she gets happy hearing that, and replies that she likes the sound of that and tells them to proceed with it. Rachel thinks that the Hajin she saw back then was definitely way above the level of 934th rank, and other guilds might already be aiming to recruit him as well. Though she says that she is only observing for now, as approaching cadets early is illegal, and even though the Imperial Guild isn't lacking in any way compared to Korea's famous guilds. With the Imperial Guild's priority recruitment right, they will be able to legally propose a much better offer than any other guild. Now we switch scenes to the travel club as the president says, since everyone is here, they should depart for England. We see Naeun is burning up due to the heat, and Yoonha asks her, why did she wear the cadet uniform here? Naeun asks Hajin if he doesn't feel hot, and he replies that he totally feels comfortable, seeing which, Naeun calls it annoying. Now as they arrive in England, they are quite taken in by its beauty. The club president points at the place where they will be going today, and it's up in the sky, called Clancy Islet, and they were taking the portal together to move there. Hajin remembers, Clancy Islet, this place is made by the English government using the floating crystals that they possessed. It's a place where everything money-related is located. It has all sorts of entertainment, auctions and release events for new items. It's an island of gold which is basically like the Las Vegas of England. This is the place where the main story this time around will start. As they enter it, they are quite amazed by it, with Naeun commenting that it's really been a long time she has been here, and Yoonha says the same thing. Suho asks if they both have been here before, and Naeun excitedly replies, it was with her brother when she was 11. and she suddenly gets sad remembering him, while saying that she hasn't came since then. Suho tells her that it's his first time, and asks Naeun to be his guide. She gets back again, and tells them to count on her for this. The club president tells them that there will be a big event on the islet at 7 p.m. He has asked them whether they can participate in the event, and they have gladly allowed them, so they are free to walk around and enjoy themselves before the event. As he asks if anyone has questions, Naeun raises her hand. She asks if they can go to casino as well, and he replies that they can, as a cadet is considered an adult. Hearing which, she pushes everyone, telling them to go to casino with her. At the casino, Hajin thinks that it more fancy than he thought, and Naeun excitedly goes on to exchange some tokens. As he goes to the reception, she asks Hajin to show her his identity card before the exchange. As he is giving her his card, he asks her, how many years have she worked here, as we see it's Jane in disguise. She replies, 6 years, and Hajin tells her that it's quite long and thanks for the tokens. Hajin thinks that it's expected that Jane has already infiltrated this place, and the event that Oh Han-hyun mentioned will be taking place at 7 p.m., and it's a huge problem, since the event is really big, and also because all the beasts from all over the world will be gathering here to go after that thing. And although he wants to remain cool-headed, he cannot help but feel nervous. Because this is the place best to earn money for someone like him, who lives on luck. He smiles knowing that he still have time as the event starts at 7 p.m., as such he goes on to raid the slot machine first. And after that he tries to see his next target and sees Naeun playing against some blondie, and losing. Hajin remembers that person as Vert, and Naeun, after losing everything starts to get up and leave. Vert calls Naeun back and tells her that he doesn't feel good winning a kid's money easily and offers her 25% back. Naeun gets angry hearing that, and tells him that she can take it back easily if she played seriously. Hajin remembers that in just short of 2 hours from now, Naeun will end up crying in the hotel after losing all the money that she brought here. Because all of them are con artists. Especially their leader, Vert, who is one of the important characters in his novel as well. Naeun loses once again, and Hajin calls her a loser, while noting as the 4th-generation member of a rich family, losing money means nothing to her, but Hajin is also interested in Vert. As such, he goes to the table and tells Naeun to get up as he will play in her stead. As Hajin starts, Han-hyun tells him that he needs to go, as he got a call, and Hajin replies then it would nice with just 5 of them here, and Naeun tells Hajin that he doesn't have much money, does he, and the minimum bet here is $100, and Hajin tells her to not worry about that and continue. She sighs and tells him to do whatever he wants, and the guy starts to distribute the cards now. As everyone is looking at their cards, the distributor asks them to open their cards if they have chosen. Suddenly, the bald cut notices something. He sees Hajin is not even looking at his cards and asks him if he is not going to look at them, and Hajin replies that he is not going to look at them, while thinking that he can see them without flipping them anyways. The Baldai is quite surprised by his actions, and calls Hajin a total nutjob, and Hajin replies, does he really think that he would be playing this game blind? Hajin then chooses his card to open with and flips it. The Baldai gets annoyed as Hajin was speaking to him very casually and lashes at him. Hajin replies that he was the one who speak casually first. He gets angry and slams the table, but Vert tells him to calm down, and asks him to see Hajin's clothes, as they are cadets from Cube, they should maintain their manners here. Hajin thinks that Vert must be feeling pretty flustered inside, but he sure is good at acting calm, but Hajin smiles, and seems to be onto something. Now as the game is going on, Jane reports to the captain that they have confirmed that there are 6 people from the evil society, 3 heroes from the association, 1 swindler, and 1 from Light Source, but the hero from Light Source is probably just here for sightseeing. And even Kim Hajin, captain's favorite, is also here. The captain tells everyone to be on standby now, and Jane informs them that Hajin saw her face, and asks if her cover is blown. Captain replies, that will only happen if he focuses mana on his optical nerves, and people normally don't do that, and Jane replies, guess that is true, as she couldn't sense the movement of mana either. Meanwhile, Vert seems to be in quite the position, and Hajin has stacked up wins and is on the 12th round, with $60,000 in. Hajin notes that Vert's card is an ace of hearts, and if combined with the remaining cards, he would have an aces full. Vert calls on his turn, and Hajin thinks that he is managing a poker face despite having really good cards, which is not too bad. Naeun raises, the Baldai also calls, and Hajin raises. Hajin thinks that Vert's current cards would be an aces full. In order to win, he would need to have at least a 4 of a kind, and he wouldn't normally aim for such cards, since the chances of a 4 kind appearing after a full house is really low, but for him it's different. Vert tells Hajin that he knows that he doesn't have that much money, and Hajin thinks that he is indeed lacking in money here. As such, Vert asks him to bet that ring of his as well. Hajin takes it out and Vert tells him that he can tell it's an artifact from a glance, and asks Hajin why does he have a ring around his neck. Hajin with a serious face replies that he has his reasons, seeing which, Naeun gets concerned. She quickly gets up and tells Hajin to leave with her as well. But Hajin asks her what is she doing and tells her to sit down, and she replies that she would give him the money that he lost as well, and if it's important enough for him to be wearing it wherever he goes, then it must be precious. But before she can complete her sentence, Hajin pulls her hand and tells her to sit down. He gets really close with her and tells her that he definitely won't lose, so just stay still, and it causes her to blush. Hajin tells Vert that this ring is really expensive, and he will make this ring a part of this bet as well. But in return, he wants him to bet his bracelet as well, which Vert agrees to do so. As they both put their belongings down, he asks them to open their cards, and that he will be starting first. As he reveals his cards, it turns out to be full house, and Naeun is shocked upon seeing it. Vert starts to laugh while saying that he feels bad for him and starts to take in the rewards, but Hajin tells him to wait, as he still has not opened up his cards yet. Hearing which, Vert gets nervous. Hajin reveals his cards, saying that he is quite lucky himself. He smiles and Naeun is quite shocked upon getting a 4 of a kind, and the bet being his win. Naeun shouts, "What the hell?" and Hajin tells her to not be so surprised as gambling is all about luck after all, and Vert is completely shocked, as he wonders what on earth happened. We then see him getting dragged by the security, while he shouts that Hajin cheated and he is not the one who did. Naeun replies that he doesn't have any evidence, as even the security checked him. Naeun is quite pissed, calling Vert too noisy after losing. Hajin appraises Vert's bracelet, and notes that Vert still doesn't know the true value of this bracelet, because while this bracelet can store mana, the user isn't able to use that mana themselves. Though he notes that it can be solved by just imprinting other magic aspects onto the bracelet, Vert will only realize it 1 year from now on, and Hajin decides to imprint a physical strengthening magic onto it. Naeun calls him out and asks what was he planning to do if he lost, and Hajin replies that he would have committed suicide by jumping off into Hangang, and Naeun tells him to not say such things. Hajin asks her if she wants her money back, as 1/3 of this chips belong to Naeun, and she replies that it's not that, he can have them, as he won them after all. Though hesitant, she tells him that he looked pretty cool. Fast forward, Suho and Yoonha is here, as they both greet them. And we see Hajin and Naeun all dressed up. Seeing him, Yoonha asks him, why does he look like that, and he asks what is so bad about his look, and that he simply visited an antique shop, but Yoonha asks him, where did he got all this money from? As Naeun is telling them about Hajin's performance in the casino, someone arrives from behind upon noticing Naeun, while saying, look who we have here. He comes directly to Naeun and greets her. In surprise, Naeun asks him, what is he doing here, and he replies that he is here for some fun. Looking at Hajin, he asks Naeun if he is her boyfriend, and she gets flustered and replies that he is just a friend. He tells Hajin that he saw him raking in tons of money, and to think he was Naeun's friend. Yoonha also recognizes him and asks if he is the hunter, Kim Junwoo from Light Source. He replies that he is, and says that it looks like he still have some popularity. She introduces herself and greets him and shake hands with him as well. And we see the captain is watching all of them, standing in some alleyway behind. She calls up on Jane, and we see her arriving right behind her and gets out of her disguise, while telling the captain that it's ready. Fast forward, and a reporter reports that right now, they are at the River Thames portal that leads to Clancy Islet. And all sorts of VIPs are gathering in this place to take part in the event, which is hosted by an international company, Lotan Corporation. With the shocking news that the White Crystal will be shown, it has gathered the attention of the world. We then see a car arriving and some girl seems to stepping out of it. The reporter looks over and reports that, just as he was speaking, Princess Rachel has arrived. She gets surrounded by reporters, asking her to say a few words about today's event and to comment on her losing her #1 position in theatricals. She doesn't say anything, and the guard blocks the reporters, telling them that they are not allowed past this area. As she gets inside, we see some kind of portal in front of her. She finally breathes some relief as it gets quiet, but someone arrives and greets her. We see it's the Lotan Corporation's CEO, Zelen, who thanks Rachel for coming here. Rachel tells him that it seems like he has taken great measures to defend against demonic humans, and he replies, of course. And that she could say this place, Clancy Islet, is the safest place in Europe, as they have hired a large number of advanced grade heroes for this event, so there is no need to worry at all. And as the greatest sponsor of the Imperial Guild, he promises her to uphold the class and reputation of her guild. She gets nervous upon hearing that, and we see him giving off an evil grin. He then takes his leave and tells Rachel to enjoy the event. At one of the table, we see Hajin sitting and thinking, there is still 30 minutes until the event starts, but it is already so crowded. But that aside, in a world that is swarming with demonic humans nowadays, he cannot believe that such a dangerous event is being hosted. Hajin wrote the Lotan Corporation to be one of the most corrupt companies in the story. While there aren't any demonic humans among its executives, it's a place where the deeds that they do are as evil as the demonic humans. And those kinds of people are in the possession of the white crystal. While it's an item that mustn't fall into the hands of the demonic humans, how these people will use it won't be much different in the hands of the Lotan Corporation. And there will be a total of 3 main demonic human characters that will appear today: Crystal Carrier, Nade, Combatant, Silason. And their team leader of the Evil Society's Relic Retrieval Team, Team Leader, Kim Hakpyo. And with his current abilities, there isn't a chance in hell that he would be able to foil their larceny plans, so he decides that it would be best to just observe as the story unfolds as per the original novel storyline. Suddenly, someone calls out his name. And we see it's the captain, who asks Hajin that he is here too. Hajin is a bit surprised seeing her here, and she replies that she is here as a guard hero. Jane teases her captain by congratulating her on finally meeting her crush. She gets really pissed at Jane and asks, what the hell is she talking about, and Hajin gets scared, thinking that it's for him. She apologizes to him, saying that her colleague was saying something weird on her earphone, and Hajin thinks that he heard that as well. As Suho and everyone else arrives, and upon noticing Captain, Suho asks Hajin, who is she, and he replies that she is someone he knows, Lee Sapeng, an upper intermediate grade hero. She is here on a mission and they happen to meet each other. Hajin introduces everyone else to the captain, and she replies that she knows everyone already, as they are all famous cadets. We see Kim Junwoo arrives and introduces himself as well to her. We see him doubting Captain and asks her, how does she know Hajin, and if it's alright with her, he would like to ask which group she belongs to as well. But suddenly, the lights turns on, and Yoon-ha notes that the show is about to start. She tells Junwoo that she will be leaving now to perform her guard duties and tells them goodbye. Junwoo seems to be thinking about something and Hajin hopes that he didn't catch on to anything. From up above, Rachel notices Hajin sitting at the table. She also notices the relic that she gave him and gets happy and smiles upon seeing him wear it. Zelen gets on the stage and introduces himself as the CEO of the Lotan Corporations, which leads the innovation industry. He asks everyone, what do they think is the power that is the source of all creation, and he tells them that it's mana. And, as mana gather naturally, it can also become a treasure that possesses great power. Among those treasures, the white crystal is especially rare and precious. There have been 480 crystals that's been discovered so far, but currently, the way to properly use these crystals has not been discovered yet. However, from now on, they at the Lotan Corporation will demonstrate them how to properly use the white crystal. Seeing this, audience starts to clap and Hajin looks on with a poker face. As Zelen is giving his speech, Rachel looks concerned upon noticing black puppets that have been walking around the hall ever since earlier. And at first, she thought that they were guards, but their numbers have increased. And she also feels that something is ominous, but she cannot move recklessly. She suddenly notices Hajin getting up and going somewhere. She wonders where is he going in the middle of the event. Suddenly, she gets some doubt in her mind about him. And thinks that the person who is always at the scene of the incidents, and the extraordinary vibes, there are way too many suspicious points to ignore. She orders her guards that she is fine and to monitor any suspicious characters within the hall, and the guards leave immediately. She then pulls out her necklace and uses a skill, Shadow Expansion. And with this, she is able to move through the hall without being noticed by anyone. And she decides to follow Hajin for now, while being certain that something is about to happen in this hall. We see Kim Hakpyo sitting and his associates informing him that they have confirmed the details from a Lotan internal document. The item that's in Clancy Hall right now is the real thing. Zelen explains that this cube's essence is that of an ancient relic, earthenware. They have split it up into dirt and then gave it a new life by using the most precise mana technology to put it into a glass box. Hakpyo thinks that it's quite surprising that Zelen would actually bring the new real thing here, and calls him a fool for doing that, and he would probably slipped up because he was too obsessed with money, and was probably trying to prove the authenticity so that their stock will skyrocket. Though Hakpyo does think that it's not a bad idea in reality, as the only way in and out of this place is via the portal, and it's being monitored strictly. Since it's an island made from mana, the demonic humans cannot create artificial portals. However, never in their wildest dreams could they have guessed that they have an air transportation device. As such, he orders it to enter. Meanwhile, Rachel is still following Hajin and wonders how much further he is going to go up. She tries to stay further away from him to observe. As he is opening the gate to the rooftop, Rachel wonders if he has some business to attend to there, and that the rooftop is a prohibited area, so it should be locked unless there is an inspection taking place. When the gate doesn't open and Rachel notes that the only choice would be to use a key, Hajin brings out a hammer. She is quite surprised seeing that, and wonders if he intends to break it down, and thinks that since the Clancy Islet prohibits people from bringing in weapons, people would only be able to bring something like a tool at most. As Hajin lifts the hammer to break down the door, Rachel thinks if Hajin really intends to break down a mana alloy steel door with a worn-down hammer, and calls it impossible to do so. But much to her shock, the door completely breaks in one single blow. As she says, "No way," and wonders how did an ordinary hammer that isn't even imbued with mana break the door. Suddenly, Rachel senses something, and we see a huge fight has broken out at the event hall. We see the demonic humans killing civilians as one of them grabs Zelen and takes the white crystal from him. But suddenly, he gets attacked by someone from behind. And we see it's Kim Jun-woo, who says that not only he dodged his attack, but he also got a troublesome ability. As Kim Jun-woo tells him that he is an advanced rank hero, the demonic human clones quickly makes a run for it and scatters in all the directions. As such, Jun-woo calls them coward and wonders which one should he go for. And the captain has been standing on the side and is watching over everything unfolding. We see Naeun and Suho fighting as well, with Naeun wondering what the hell is going on, as there is not just demonic humans, but also a destruction demon. We see someone calling and asking Naeun, where is she, and it is Jun-woo, who is relieved upon seeing her all safe and sound. He also throws a sword toward Suho, telling him to take it, as he would need it to fight, and that it belongs to the demonic human sprawled on the ground over there, though he can use it. Now at the rooftop, Hajin is looking over and remembers that in the original story, Nade split into 8 bodies and escaped. The first would be the east. One hero is already chasing after him, but that Nade doesn't have the crystal. In the south, a demonic human that took the form of Jane is running away with him, however, that man doesn't have it either. And the north, where the captain is at. In the original story, that Nade has the crystal. As we see, the captain is attacked by a bunch of demonic humans together. She uses her ability and creates a purple ball in the air. But one of them swings down his weapon regardless, while saying that such a small mana wouldn't do anything to him. But much to his shock, his hand completely disappears inside the ball, and he himself also starts to get sucked in, while he screams in pain, scaring others. They all try to run away from it, but the ball sucks all of them in. Nade wonders, what the hell is that? And just then, Captain's ability pierces right through him. Hajin thinks that although he was the one who created her character, she truly has an terrifying ability, but in any case, as per the original storyline, the white crystal is now in the hands of the chameleon troupe. But this Nade also turns out to be a clone, as Hajin is shocked seeing that the crystal is not there. Hajin quickly opens his laptop to check if the story changed again, but he didn't got any message regarding that, which makes him realize that this isn't a change in story, but it's a change caused by the current situation's variables. Hajin wonders, what should he do, and suddenly gets an idea. He thinks that he has never tried this method before, but he don't have time to waste, since the mana of the stigma can be used according to his will. He tries to focus it on his retina, or more like, into his far sight. And he succeeds with it and looks for the crystal in the city. He then finally finds it, and someone is seemingly carrying it in a car. But suddenly, he gets a backlash from his ability and is thrown out of his far sight. We see Hajin had an overload, at such a bad timing as well. But since he doesn't have any time to waste, he jumps after him himself. And right at the place he jumps, he finds a bike parked there. He gets on it and apologizes to the owner, as he would be borrowing for a little while. We see Naeun and everyone evacuating the civilians to safety. As she is guiding them, Hajin arrives and calls out her name, and she looks back. She is quite surprised seeing him and asks, "Where the hell has he been?" and Hajin doesn't reply and throws something towards her, telling her to take it. It's actually the mana sword he got back in Paris. He tells her that he is sure that she would be able to use it, since she cannot possibly fight with demonic humans without a weapon. Hajin thinks that the special weapon, mana sword, which he took from Cedius, depending on the mana capacity of its user, its stats could have a world of difference. And with the amount of dormant potential that Naeun has, let alone demonic humans, she can display power even greater than they can. She gets confused and asks him, what is she supposed to do with it, and he simply tells her to take care of herself and don't get hurt. She then asks him, where is he going? He replies that he got some business to take care of, so he would leave this place to her. She once again gets confused and again asks, where the hell is he going? But Hajin leaves without saying anything. We see Hajin is speeding towards the location, which is towards the southeast, and it won't take long for him to reach the target either. The guy tells the driver that they will reach the location soon, and the driver replies, they will arrive in 1 minute. They said there aren't any issues with the transport aircraft either. But suddenly, as the guy looks outside, he sees someone. We see it's Hajin, who uses his bike to slam the car and crash it. The car completely flips over, but the guy is still alive, as he comes out and tells Hajin that he is a dead meat now. The guy calls his boss over, and Hajin thinks that this was the reason he was daring to act up like this. He had something like this up his sleeve. Hajin notes that it's the A0937B transport aircraft, and he uses his SP to send this transport aircraft back to its hangar. The demonic human is quite surprised and confused upon seeing it leave like that. He starts shouting at it, asking where the hell are they going, and Hajin starts to walk towards him, while saying that now that the interference is gone, shall they start talking? But suddenly, Hajin looks back and notices that something is there. Suddenly someone arrives, creating a huge impact on the ground. We see it's Jungyun, who is holding 2 people in his hands as well, along with one other demonic human, while saying that he was wondering what took him so long. And that guess a fly got in the way, and he also seems to be holding Rachel on his shoulder. Hajin thinks that he cannot believe Jungyun is here right now out of all times, which is a really bad situation. But suddenly, he notices Rachel on his shoulders, and is quite shocked and wonders, what is she doing here? Hajin starts using his ether, while thinking that this has become a complete headache. Hajin quickly grabs the white crystal from in front of him, and Jungyun tells him to put it down while he is still asking nicely. Hajin points his weapon towards the crystal and tells him to put down Rachel first. Jungyun replies that he brought her here because she seemed to be tracking the crystal, and guesses that she is pretty important. But suddenly his mood changes, as he asks Hajin, between him ripping her head out and Hajin putting the bullet in that case, who would be faster? Hajin tells him that it doesn't matter, since if he doesn't let her down, he won't get what he wants either. Jungyun tells him that he got quite big balls, and calls it his loss and puts down Rachel. And then he asks Hajin to hand it over, since it's good now, and Hajin throws the case towards him, and Jungyun thanks him. Hajin notes that it doesn't matter that he gave it, since it's not an item that he can handle anyways. At first, he was going for the best case scenario by handing it over to Rachel and letting the Imperial family be in possession of it, but now that Jungyun is here, he can only use it as a chip for negotiation. And he would also ask her when she wake up as to how she got caught, and we suddenly see Jungyun smirking and planning something. He quickly rushes towards Hajin to attack him, and we see Hajin is completely frozen, while thinking that he let his guard down. And we see the punch causing a huge impact in the forest. As the smoke clears up, we see Jungyun being quite impressed and says, "Wow." As Jungyun stops right before punching him, while saying, "Would you look at this?" Looking at Hajin, he thinks that he is quite bold, as he is not even blinking, the attitude of a fighter that watches his opponent's movements until the very last moment. Jungyun stands down while telling Hajin that he wasn't as pathetic as he thought he was. And he walks away while telling Hajin that he likes him. Meanwhile, Hajin's fear kicks in, as he falls down on the ground. He gets scared thinking that he almost died, as after he came to his senses, a fist that as big as a head was right in front of his eyes, so he didn't had time to react at all. And had he done anything stupid, his head would have probably blown off, and to think that an overwhelming difference with his opponent would help him in that situation. We then see Rachel waking up as Hajin asks her if she is alright. As she gets up, she asks what happened to the enemy and Hajin replies that it's alright now as he left. Hearing which, Rachel is left confused and asks Hajin, what does he mean by that? Hajin explains her the situation that the crystal fell into their hands, and he asks her if she was also tracking the crystal. She replies that she was tracking him instead. She then shows Hajin a bullet, while saying that it's his, isn't it? Hajin remembers that bullet, and Rachel tells him that she found it during the final exams. Hajin thinks that guess she found him when he was sniping at long range previously and recovered this bullet. He moves his hand to take the bullet while telling her that it's indeed his. But Rachel pulls the bullet away and puts inside her pocket while saying that she followed after him in case a similar situation happened. Even though she wasn't much of a help because the opponent was too strong, which she feels bummed out about. She then asks Hajin why did he help her back then, as they could attribute it to coincidence during the midterms exam, but during the final exam as well. And due to this, she cannot help but think that he has been observing her closely. Hajin wonders what should he say and tells her that the truth is, he is a big fan of hers, hearing which she is very confused and shocked. She asks once again for clearance, and Hajin tells her that it's true as he even joined her fan community as well. Hajin wonders if it was too fake of an excuse, but it's not like he can tell her the truth though. He cannot tell her that she is a main character of a novel who is exposed to great danger, and if she dies or gets hurt the storyline will become totally messed up. From that statement, Rachel asks if he means that he likes her while blushing. Now back to the place of the event, we see many ambulances and officials have arrived at the location and Yoonha is sitting all tired. Naeun comes running towards her and asks her if she saw, and Yoonha asks, what? Naeun replies, that, and Yoonha asks, what's that? Though she also says that she saw a lot of things today, and the one who left the deepest impression amidst all the chaos. And the one who destroyed everything barehanded, the hunter of light source, Kim Jun-woo. And the talent of the Sword Saint, which allows one to mow down everything, Kim Suho who cut all the overwhelming incoming attacks like paper. And she remembers Naeun in her list as well, seeing how she used her mana sword to destroy the monsters. And upon using the mana sword, Naeun gets quite happy and excited and calls it quite awesome. But back to the present, Naeun tells Yoonha that Hajin rode off with a bike, which doesn't get much reaction out of her. She tells Naeun that she briefly saw that, and that he seems really good at riding it. She asks Naeun if he told her where he was going, and she replies that she doesn't know either, and more importantly, she wonders where did that bike came from. Suddenly, Suho arrives and tells them both that he heard that Rachel has disappeared and asks if they saw her. Naeun replies that come to think of it, she didn't saw her either, and asks him, since when was she gone, as she was still here right up until a brief moment before the demonic humans charged in. Yoonha wonders if that means that they were actually trying to capture her in the midst of the commotion. Yoonha thinks that it's definitely a possibility, because if they capture her as a hostage, the UK government would probably grant their request even if they ask for possession rights of Clancy Islet. She gets angry thinking that, and suddenly Suho tells everyone to look over at something. We see it's Rachel who is riding a bike while crying. Yoonha gets relieved that she is safe, and Naeun remembers that bike as it's the same one that Hajin rode off on, hearing which surprises Yoonha. It makes her think that while everyone was distracted by the commotion, Kim Hajin rode off alone on a bike, but Rachel is the one who rode that very bike back here. This all makes her wonder if Hajin took down the demonic humans alone and rescued her. She gets nervous thinking that, and thinks that there is no way, and questions if even Kim Hajin can do something so ridiculous. Now fast forward at Double Star, Clancy Premium Hotel. We see Chai Naeun standing there, all dressed up, as someone suddenly calls her name. We see it's Hajin, who asks, why is she the only one here, and where are the other people from the travel club? She replies that they are already gone to the restaurant, and it's because he is late. She then says, let's go quickly, and that she will buy him dinner today. Hajin asks, what is the special occasion, as it's surprising that she is buying him dinner, but Naeun doesn't reply back. As Hajin is walking behind her, he thinks that something is strange, and wonders if something happened. While walking, we see Naeun seems to be up to something, and is blushing slightly. She suddenly stops in the middle, calls out his name, and asks, doesn't he think that they could at least become friends while blushing slightly? But Hajin declines, saying that no, he doesn't think they can. She clenches her fist in frustration and replies, "Is that so?" She turns around and tells him to forget what she said, and she wasn't asking seriously, and calls Hajin a punk for embarrassing her like this, and that he should treat it as if she didn't said anything. Meanwhile, Hajin thinks there is no way they could become something like friends, since he is someone who'd leave eventually, and he is also someone who would have to kill the most important person to her one day. There is no way they could become something like friends. Now fast forward, and Hajin is back at his dorm, as he says, "I am here," while entering. Hearing that, Evangel comes running to him, all happy and excited. She asks him, where is her fried chicken, and Hajin gives the bag to her, saying that he brought 2 pieces for her. She happily takes it and runs away while thanking him, as Hajin thinks that he is suddenly feeling at peace now, and feels like a father. Evangel had been quiet and obedient for a while, and there is only 3 days left of school break. As such, Hajin decides to wrap up things that he hasn't able to finish. And the first thing he decides to do is link the smartwatch first. It had been pretty troublesome to have to open his laptop whenever something happens, so he has been saving SP little by little. And back when Jung Yang was about to punch him, we see Hajin got a notification that due to his extreme luck, he has avoided an impending death. A part of the accumulation of luck, a special stat of the narrow escape from death has been activated, and his SP increases by 193. And now he is finally able to do this with the SP he got thanks to Jung Yang. As the linking completes, we see Hajin's smartwatch is able to display all the information that his laptop can. Using it, Hajin thinks that this so darn convenient, and he cannot believe that he was delaying such a thing, and he once again thanks Jung Yang for it. Now after completing this, Hajin thinks that he got one more important task left. As he calls Park Soo-hyuk and asks if he bought that, and Soo-hyuk asks if he is referring to that motorbike, Augusta. Hajin replies, yeah, and Soo-hyuk tells him that he tried to look for the one that has the best specs, but even the ones without all the options already cost 150 million won, and Hajin tells him to help him get the one with all the options. Soo-hyuk freaks out hearing that and asks Hajin if he is serious, and he replies that he is, as such he should help him get one with all the options. Soo-hyuk replies that he will order one in his company's name, and Hajin thanks him for it. Hajin thinks that since he won around 2 billion from the casino, 150 million is easy enough, and also, that day is approaching. The day of the raid of the Suan's Den of Devils by the masked demon's master. And that means it isn't long before his stock price is going to the moon soon. Thinking about which, Hajin starts laughing hysterically.
Right now your brain's still open, still listening. That means I have one last chance to tell you something important. You didn't find this video by accident. Something pulled you here, so trust that instinct. Like the video, it locks in the value. Comment something, anything. It gives your mind closure. And hit subscribe, or don't. But if you don't understand this, you'll forget this moment, this channel, and you'll search for something like it again, but you won't find it. This is where that search ends. So act before your window closes.